You're clocked in at the Shine Station. Welcome to the show. Roll up the doors, turn up the talk. We're in the bay where the diehards rock. Chrome in the lights, clear coat glow. Trade secret tips right here in the show. Hey! Welcome to Polisher's Corner, where the grinders and the wrenches meet. Dialing in the gloss and the hustle, from the buff pad to the balance sheet. Polisher's Corner, every trick, every story you need. If you live for the shine and the detail, you're in the place. Don't leave. Whoa.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Evan here with Evan's Detailing and Polishing. We're in Polisher's Corner. I think it's season 6. Levi and I talked about this earlier today. We shot a podcast with Levi. I'm probably actually going to update Levi's after your guys'. So you guys are going to get on before Levi. I got a feeling you guys are going to be episode 2, and I think it's season 6 is what I think it came down to, is season 6. I had JJ from Ohio on in the first episode to kind of bring it back. And now I've got 2 interesting guys here that I've been waiting to finally get to sit down and talk with these guys. We're trying something new. We're going to do it over Zoom. I want to get more podcasts out this year because people have been asking for them last year and said how much they helped them through some tough times. So I feel like I need to hunker down and make this happen. And honestly, Zoom's probably the best way to get face to face. As you guys can see, we're all monitored up and we're good to go. But why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Who are you? What's your business name? And let's get right into it.
I'm Tyler Gravatt. I own Gravatt Garage. We're located here in Clear Ranch, New Jersey. We do detailing, metal polishing, and undercoating for rust prevention. I'm Mark Shanoski. I go by East Coast Metal Polishing. That was my original LLC, but as of late, I'm now working under house under Gravatt Garage.
So the original East Coast Metal Polishing, like I knew you as the original East Coast Metal Polishing. There's also another East Coast Metal Polishing now, but it's not you.
Credit to Forge Rick. Back in the day, he had the East Coast original names in there, and I kind of just threw the polishing at the end. But
yeah, I got to know Rick pretty well back in the day, and I think he's the whole reason I actually originally found you. Was I think he had posted something up that you had done, and I was like, dang, that I can't for the life of me think of what it was. Maybe he tagged you in that polished gun that he did.
Might have been. There might have been.
It could have been, and I think that's how I ended up finding you, because back then I just wanted to talk to any polisher that would listen. So
he steered me in the right direction and was really just open and honest, and that's where I kind of learned how to be a person and how to help other people out.
Yeah, honestly, I talked to Rick quite a bit. He is one of the best polishers. He's gonna go down as one of the greats someday. He polishes a lot of what are those wheels? The certain type of wheel he does.
Oh.
It's not the weld. Is it Weld's wheels?
He did weld, and he was really good at forces too when he was hooked up with them in the beginning.
Yep, that's right. And then people more notably now know him for the full polished. What is it? It was an AR, I think.
Yep. And then he had the Duramax square body was his pride and joy over there.
Yep, that was his claim to fame, right? And no, honestly, he's a great polisher. I've always had a lot of respect for him. But you guys said you guys detail and polish. Do you guys find that you have a tough time? Because you do ceramic coatings and stuff too?
We do.
Do you find you struggle keeping the shop clean enough to get the ceramic coatings done when you're polishing?
100%. So we had a recent huge project in here with a horse trailer in here, and left the whole shop a mess. So it's a struggle. There's no way around it. We have a small dedicated polishing room. We have a headache racks and wheels, different things in here now, but all those bigger projects, it conflicts with our detailing space. So it's really just coordinating the schedule for us at this point until we can move into a bigger shop and expand, and we need the metal polishing, undercoating even, because that's also very dirty work, overspray, the handling works. from the ceramic coating, high-end detail, things of that nature.
You just try to mitigate everything that you can. Tarp it off when you have to, sweep it up when you're done, clean up. That's why it's so important to have the procedures and like what you have to do at the end of the day. It's hey, if this is part of the procedure, then we know every day, no matter what we got going on, it's clean everything up, put it back where it needs to go, wipe it down, and so forth.
I know I gave you the business the other day on your Instagram post about standard operating procedures. So a little background on myself. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I went to school for some industrial engineering. So everything I've done in my business has been with some brain mentality of standard operating procedures. If you can build a process, replicate it, if you have a pattern, you can make it faster each day just by replicating the same process. So I know I know I picked on you about standard operating procedures, but honestly, I was thoroughly impressed that somebody else has thought that through without me saying it and somebody trying to copy it, right? You guys are actually building a process to make something work. Because when I was looking it up before we even did all this, I was like, how do you polish and ceramic coat in the same location? Like that metal polishing dust gets everywhere. My office, if you guys ever get over my way, is upstairs above my main office, which is firewalled off in between my shop and my office. My office is upstairs and I still get dust in my upstairs through a closed door, through a firewall. Like, I don't even know how it gets up there. It just gets up there. But to do ceramic coatings, people ask me all the time, would you do ceramic coatings? And I'm like, no, like we polish way too much for me to even get my shop remotely clean. Like there's times I'll wash my pickup and my fan has so much stuff on it, it'll drop on it. I'm like, well, that was almost worthless to clean it.
I think that's part of the catalyst as well. Is we're pretty evenly split between right now is our metal polishing effort and detailing side. So we have the flexibility to schedule. So like if we have a big horse trailer, we don't have to book a ceramic coating for that week or whatever it is, that buffer that we have. So we can just push that, ceramic. So we can kind of blend back and forth. Most of the time we're doing forage wheels, pickup truck wheels, for piece parts, things of that nature. Very rarely do we get a full truck or large scale trailer that we could occupy other than
And even if we do, like, I'm a big advocate kind of, if they're dropping it off and it's going to be here, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to just make my life a little bit easier and, and spend the time, okay, or pull the parts in. I can do them at night. I don't have to worry about, and then, you deal with the temperature, you deal with the environments. That's like knowledge you kind of build over time. So you kind of figure out, all right, so I'm going to be working in 32-degree winter weather. I need this product, and this is my method. And then back to your operating procedures, you don't have to go up to every wheel and go, okay, I got to test this out, see, and like waste a whole hour of time. Now it's, hey, I know this temperature. I know what product works. I know where I have to keep it. Do I have to put it in the shape? Leave it over here. The tiniest little details that now you don't even have to worry about. You can just attack, get it done, and it's saving you time. It's not really money at the end of the day. So we do have conflicts though on the space. So like last winter, we had a Peterbilt. We had like a few piece parts left to finish, and it was literally snowing. As we're trying to get the truck out the door, outside polishing, it's like, what are we doing here? But it's just one of those situations where we had to see it through and finish the couple parts that you can get out the door.
So do you have enough room inside your shop to park a truck in it?
Right now, no, not a full truck. We're limited by actually headspace. So most of our big work is done outside right now.
Whoa, that's brutal this time of year. Because you guys where exactly are you guys located?
Basically, if you put a dot in the center of New Jersey, north, south, east, and west, you're going to hit our shop and one way or the other.
Right? Literally, Lakehurst military base is the backyard. So it's
all right. Listen to everybody that's listening. I know they don't sound like they're Jersey, but if you're watching on YouTube, they look Jersey. But no, honestly, that's pretty cool. I went and did some work out in New York and New Jersey a few years back with another polisher out there. Shout out to Big Pete. I did some work for Lenny Saraceno. I was just out there for his it was his 30th birthday maybe, and they're trash haulers. I got to know them real well, their whole family. And it's a different culture out there. Like that whole area of New York, New Jersey, Maryland, kind of down to DC, you've got a lot of rollbacks, a lot of dump trucks, a lot of scrap haulers, a lot of stuff that stays local. And since you guys are so heavily concentrated, I feel like a lot of those trucks never leave, right? I mean, they're always in that steady area. So the market's a little different there too. But yeah, that sucks that you guys don't have the space to get a truck inside, because this time of year is brutal. Like
I just, no, we already had plans, basically 18 months. We're building a new shop, build out the whole 9 yards. So in the next, I'll say year, the plan is to really scale, ramp up, and especially in the big truck, because like I said, we only do a handful right now of bigger projects.
Yeah, because that's the one thing we're kind of, this is part of the partnership, is we both have been in it for the same amount of time, a little over a decade. So now it's at the point of, he took and ran with it, grew it a little bit with the shop, over a couple of employees, and they specialize more in the detailing side with a touch of the polishing. It kind of ran, the ready, your normal clients, things of that nature, but heavily detailed, and then the undercoating started taking off. But now I was to the point where I needed an employee. So now we were able to kind of mesh, and I was able to bring the knowledge and training to here to cross-train some of the detail guys, bring them over, get some more work pushed out. And now we're able to kind of handle the bigger jobs, per se, where our main market up north is show truck wheels for the most part, because there is like a lot of, truck money up here. There's a lot of people that own businesses and use them as their promotions, and they take them to the truck for those natures. So you get a mixed market, and it's kind of whatever you want to grab. If you want to get into this industry, and we started dabbling into it, and it got to the point of we needed to more bring on new people. And one, it's nice to bring people into the industry now of, different ages, and you have different types of knowledge. You have people that have been the old school guys that have been doing, show bikes and stuff back in the 70s, 80s, their methods.
Yep.
And, it's even to the point where you can start bringing in people for classes or something, but you can now bring in people from every which direction, and, have any military day, per se, where you bring in vets and show them something new, or it kind of opened up a house to a whole different level of opportunities now.
Yeah, Mark and I have basically been working together for, like we said, almost 10 years. So I've had in and around 4 full-time employees for the shop, detailing, metal polishing, undercoating, and to date, I've only had one other full-time metal polisher besides myself. So once that person left my team, I was basically doing all the polishing myself, running the business, coordinating all the details, back-end paperwork, the whole 9 yards. Basically, the last 6 months, I was killing myself, working till 3 a.m. every night, trying to do all the polishing, the whole 9 yards, to the point where I was like super close to selling the business. Super close. It's done. I have no family life. The wife was ready to kill me, the whole 9 yards. Money was great, but I was killing myself
And then
the whole night, all night long. So that's when Mark, obviously, I was offloading some work to him. Like, why we've been doing this for so long, and 2 past kind of a line. Perfect.
I'm glad you guys touched on that, because I was going to ask you, like, what does a partnership mean to you guys? Like, because I've known you guys as separate companies for quite a while, and to now see you guys working together, like, to me, that's awesome. I work with multiple companies when I go to Louisville, and companies that aren't within my franchise network. It's just guys that I've trained over the years, or guys that I've been friends with over the years. I'll work with anybody. And then during my fleet weeks, I invite polishers to come in and hang out with me when we're doing Nelson truck lines. We do 12 to 13 trucks a day, as you guys have seen at that location. Like, we're making shiny pits. We're not turning out show trucks at that location. He just wants to look good from across the highway. And we invite other polishers in. I cut them in on the money, and we just work together. We work well And I hope everybody wants to come back every year to be a part of it. And some guys do come back every year. Some guys come back, whenever they're slow or whenever they want to get themselves quicker again. But there's a lot of great opportunities when you're working together with people. And I think it's great that you two are working together. One, Mark, what you bring to the polishing, and of course, you guys have both been great at polishing. So like that's not the main issue. But I also understand the business side of it because I'm fully involved in the paperwork side of my business, which entails product sales. I still polish all spring, summer, and fall, some in the winter. Winter's when I get my chance to get caught up and spend some time with the family. But spring, summer, fall, I'm working in the shop 5 days a week-ish, sometimes a little less, but it's usually right at 5 days a week. And then I'm still helping promote product. I'm still running all my social media accounts. I'm still doing all the paperwork. Plus we sell apparel. So plus I'm doing invoicing, emailing, making sure everybody gets back. Plus on all my social media stuff, if you dropped a comment on my YouTube video, I've responded to you. My sister has helped with some of the simpler ones, just saying thank you for commenting, that kind of stuff. And Melinda, when she was working for us, she did the same. She would just comment to people if they just left a generic comment and didn't need an answer from a question. She would just respond to some of that stuff. But everything else, if you dropped a question, it's me answering. I physically take the time to respond. I don't respond as quick as I'd like to because sometimes it gets a little crazy. Like right now, I'm uploading videos every week. So there's literally hundreds of comments to keep up with every day, and it's impossible. You got to filter through it. You got to pick the ones that need help and respond to the ones 2 years from now that didn't really need the help. So I do my best, but I understand that it's a struggle. I think I'm actually going to do a podcast like this with my wife and kids just so that we can talk family aspect on what kind of toll it takes on the family. I'm not sure the wife's going to be down for that. I'm going to try and talk her into it. I'm pretty sure my little one will be cool with being online because she's kind of my social media kid. So my oldest, she'll kind of be there, but I doubt she'll say too much. But yeah, I think I want to have them on a podcast as well because this business can take a really big toll on you. And I've said this in a previous podcast that if you don't say no to a customer, customers will never say no for you. I've never had a customer tell me, you know what? No. Take a day off. You should go spend some time with your family. It's, what do you mean you got a day off? You can't fit me in on that day off. That's the answer I always hear. So don't let it tear up your families because it is that worth it. If you're that tight on the money that you have to do it, cool. I've made some sacrifices. I've skipped. We've scheduled my kids' birthdays. I have one that's really close to Louisville, so we're gonna celebrate your birthday before I go, or we're gonna celebrate it after I get back because that one I can't stay home from. It's too important to business for us. And I can relate to that with you guys. Is I've seen you guys both kind of do the exact opposite. East Coast, you didn't really go the whole marketing route, whereas Gravatt did. And you guys kind of grew at a different rate. And you guys were kind of, I don't know, you guys kind of started your businesses around the same time?
I think it was a month apart.
Yeah. And it's funny because I don't even know if I've ever told you this, but like when I first started polishing, every person in any business is super hungry and you think you have this big ego and you want to take everything down. I remember seeing your Facebook ads for polishing. I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm going to kick his ass. And I want to be better than him. Because I saw all on Facebook Marketplace ads. At that time, it was what we thought was great marketing, listing their audience. So but I remember vividly like seeing a picture of a wheel or a pipe or drive shaft, whatever it was in polish. I was like, I'm going to take this guy down. Now we're partners in this going forward, which is full circle. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I never got lost in the social media ever. I kind of, we both grew up from really small towns. So, and were both just had very old school families where they instilled, just work ethic, and like we weren't, we didn't grow up in front of screens. We grew up with our own, if it broke, you have to fix it. If you want it, you have to work for it, figure out how to do it. Like nothing's going to be handed to you. So I kind of follow my dad's footsteps, as he was just always blue collar worker. As long as I knew him, he was at work. He, worked 2 jobs. I never even knew that there was a market crash. I never knew that there was any struggles, and that's, and as a new father, like you start to realize these things, and your biggest goal as a parent is to give your kids better than what your parents did for you. And like, lucky for me, like my dad's crushed it. So like he made that goal really, really hard. So I'd always just had work. I don't have time for anything else. Like I need to work. I still work 2 jobs. I work 63 hours a week at a company job, and I come in here at 5, 6, 7, whatever it takes, and it's not about me. It's not about being tired. It's about what we're going to have in 5, 10 years, and it's filling in the blanks of Ty has, he comes from an engineering background. Like he's a smart, very, very smart kid. That's something I would know. And smart character. And he understood the business, understood the scaling of the business. And I worked on word of mouth. It was small shops.
Yeah.
Hey, this kid does killer work. Goodies Automotive. We're another local. They're down in Woodbury. James over there has, helped me out immensely. He's grown me since the beginning. He came over, hey, give this kid a shot. And I took it. Like that's like your name is everything. So I gave it everything I had.
100%.
That first job, it takes you 10 times. That's, that's probably my biggest eat job. Whatever first job I did for this guy, I had a set of fuels that I sat there and I trembled every ounce of everything and I ate everything I could. But I knew if I took care of this guy, I would be okay. And still to this day, we check in on each other on holidays. That customer that I did the job for shares everything that I post, and I haven't seen him in 4 years, but we check in the same thing. We check in every Christmas. Hey, congratulations, kids are growing up. It's that's the nature I grew up in. So I kind of put the blinders on and to try to grow that authenticity, and that's where Ty was the same way. He just had something else to offer. I just knew how to work. I'm very good at working.
It's because I can confidently say Mark's a better polisher than I am. Confidence in it, and just surround myself with someone better in polishing. Hopefully I can do that as well pretty soon on the detail side, from these guys, train those guys different ways where we have a team of killers. And that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to say, put our team in any situation, they're going to provide X quality product for Y price in super forward. But I think that all circles back to talk about goodings, and you mentioned the network. Like the network that can grow is worth more than the money in the bank.
Oh, by far. It's not even in the same range, like, and I grew up blue collar as well. My dad was a welder. He was part of the union here local, and he just never got out. He stayed in the same place for, I think it's 40 years. He retired when they closed the doors, and he was literally the last one out the doors. And my dad and I, we butt heads on this. Like, I love my dad to death. I have had the utmost respect for my dad, and that whole, like, you want better than your family gave you. My parents gave me everything. Like, and by everything, I mean everything I needed. We didn't have a lot of really nice things. Like, my parents look at the Louis Vuitton stuff now and they're like, you're an idiot. And they're not wrong, right? Like,
it's got this thing on the rack, right?
Right. My parents, we had hand-me-down clothes. My dad worked. He picked up some overtime on the weekends so we could take a vacation once a year. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. We lived on a little farmette. We had steers. We didn't have milking cows. We had a horse to make sure that the steers would come home every day just to eat. Like, it was a simple life. And my dad was the guy that went to work, punched in the morning, punched out in the afternoon. And when he punched out in the afternoon, he came home, didn't talk about work, didn't think about work. He was happy. Like, my dad came to all of my baseball games, all of my basketball games. He was there for any sport I wanted to be in, all my bowling tournaments. He was there for all of it. He never missed anything. He was my baseball coach for a number of years. Like, just my dad was all around supportive. My mom was my biggest fan. I spent a lot of time with my grandpa out on his farm because we lived real close. So like we had a lot of that, but I was always hungry for more. And I don't know why, because it doesn't, like, we don't have that in our family. Like, I've since talked to my mom about it, and my mom's like, she's glad she was a stay-at-home mom, but she's like, I always wanted more too. She's like, that drive was just always in me to want more. And she's like, when I started having kids, I realized how much more important it was to raise you guys than it was to feed my own hunger. And I was like, damn, that's some deep stuff. Cause I'm like, I would sacrifice every birthday, every holiday, and work them all to make sure that my kids have four-wheelers and dirt bikes and all the stuff I never had as a kid. Not that because they want them, but because I want them for them. I'm kind of living my life through them, I guess. But I just, I never found an end to my hunger. I always, like, I'd hit a goal and I was like, instead of celebrating it, it was what's next, right? And I'd hit that next goal and I was like, man, this isn't where I want to be yet. What's next? I'd hit the next goal and I'm like, I look back, I'm like, man, I'm past where I thought I wanted to be, but I'm still not where I want to be. So I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And now I'm at where I'm at now. And I'm still not where I want to be. And I look back at it, I'm like, I have way more than I ever wanted. I have more than I need. I'm grateful for everything I have, and I'm blessed for everything I have. I've got great employees in my shop. Never have enough employees. Like, can always hire on more. We run the training course in the winter. I've met a lot of great polishers and hung out with a lot of great people. I've gotten to do a lot of cool things. I got to drive my car on a racetrack that I had no business being on with my cab over. Got to do a lot of cool things over the years through those outlets. But I would sacrifice every one of them for my kids again tomorrow and my wife, so that they could live the life that I want them to live. It's just tough.
True entrepreneur to some extent, because I feel the same exact way. I mean, it's just like you and Mark. My dad grew up on a family farm. That's where I was born and raised. Got to make hay when the sun shines, go to work the whole 9 yards. But
Yep.
the hunger, the birthday sacrifice, that's, unless you're in it, you don't understand it. Unless you have that same hunger and same drive in any business, or even if you're an instrument, unless you have that hunger, you just don't get it.
Yeah.
And
what's crazy is the bigger your social media gets doesn't necessarily mean the busier you are. Like, I know some polishers that have huge social media followings, and right now I had one of them reach out to me asking if I had extra work laying around that they could come up and do some work for me. I was like, really? I'm like, you've got a not quite as big a following as I do, but I'm like, you look like you're busy. They're like, I've just been posting just to look like I'm staying busy, and I'm dying down here. Like, I need the work right now. If you got it, I'm like, I mean, I can find you work in your area if you want. And they're like, really? I'm like, yes. I started passing them numbers from people that I know were in their area looking for work. I'm not traveling to their area. They're in a completely different state. Like, I'm not going. My shop's busy. I don't want to leave. But social media didn't change how busy I was. I built word of mouth early. I worked at that truck wash, and I knew a ton of local people. I did travel a lot for a long time, but the travel just, our state law changed, and we had to start paying more per diem and more workman's comp and unemployment during travel, and it killed me. Like, I can't travel with people anymore. Like, my employees, it's so hard. I only have 2 customers left that we travel by, and it's getting more and more difficult by the year. Because a $25 an hour employee cost me $57.50 per hour just to travel. And how do you tell a customer, all right, I'm bringing 3 employees with me, it's going to be $200 an hour to travel, plus the fuel, plus now the truck. And for us, an average truck is $600 to $800. Like, we're not getting $2,000 a truck. If we were getting $2,000 a truck, I could probably justify it a little bit better by saying, hey, it's going to cost me an extra $200 for this truck to drive back and forth. But it isn't that way. But yeah, social media, I mean, I know other polishers that have bigger followings than myself, but just because you have a huge following doesn't mean you're going to be busy.
It's more of a tool more than
Yep.
where everybody kind of forgets and all the lines got blurred because, you know, at the end of the day, the new generation's here. And like, this is what they grew up with. And you don't want to get crazy with it, but like, that's where people turned it from, you know, back in the day, you posted cool pictures that you know, of the sunset or how many beach pictures. And that's what it was. It was for photography. It wasn't for social media and selling people things. And now everybody's a coach and everybody's, you know, the master at this, and I'm about to sell you this and it's just money now. It's not about being, you know, authentic. And we grew up in, you know, the blog days. So you were the forums. Like you had to go back to the forums to figure anything out. And even if you wanted to figure out the cheat codes to Grand Theft Auto, you went to the forums to figure out what you had to do. You know, like it was, you got to put some time and research into it, but like now you're dedicating something. So now you feel obligated. Okay, well, I'm spending this time. Let me do a little bit of research, figure out what everything is. Now it's 15 seconds. Everything's in front of you. Hey, I'm going to sell you this. I'm going to sell you this. I'm going to sell you this. It's not, I'm going to research this. It's, hey, here's the link, buy it right now. And it's a great tool. But if you're manipulating a market and an industry to make money, it's, you know, you're not for nothing, get out. Like there's no reason for you to be there. You're killing, you know, you might make the quick buck on, but like I have a son. I want this to be what I grew up with. I want it to still be that. I don't want him to, you know, how mad would you be if your kid went to go buy a car and the salesman sold her a lemon and just scammed the hell out of her? You'd be showing up, you know, pretty pissed off. And it's
for sure, without a doubt.
If you know, again, you don't want to get too crazy, but like if parents are more involved in what their kids were doing and spending their money on, like they'd be like, hey, yo, why? Like I remember I went to the mall when I was a kid. I bought a G-Shock watch. My mom, when she figured that out, she drove me back to the mall. I had to return it because she thought it was crazy for spending $90 to $100 on a watch.
Yeah, that was a lot back then.
We can go to Walmart if you want a watch, and you can go pick out a watch. But it's you're a 14-year-old kid, 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
You're telling the time on this thing. What is it? Why do you need
this isn't a fashion show.
You're not over there doing extreme jumps and stuff to where, you're trying to track how rigid this thing is. Like, no, come on.
Right.
And if it breaks, I'll buy you another one. Come on. And it's like, I grew up with that. So now I look at everything and it's like, I put the blinders on when social media was around and it never got into me. So I grew up with that mentality. I see it now and it's, kind of disgusting. Like there's really good people out there. There's great products. There's great knowledge, but it's so blurred out because everything's bought out by who has the biggest money, who's got the biggest bang, where the Facebook pages are bought. Everywhere you go, you get muted if you say anything that's against their company or anything of that nature. And like, how are you supposed to spread information and grow the industry for the future? Because everybody's so worried about tomorrow. Like, how am I going to make a quick dollar for tomorrow? Like, I need to go buy something on Friday. So let's go. And it's like, slow down.
There is so much disinformation that it's muddying the waters, right? During my training course, part of day 3 in the beginner class, I also teach some business, right? If you're polishing and you're doing really well and you want to talk business, I will sit down in my office with you and go through my pricing. I'll go through how I built my business. I'll go through a good way for them to build their business. And one of the main questions I get from a lot of guys is, what social media should I push the most? And I always tell them, like, what are you looking to grow? Because I still remember, like, when my social media got big, it was kind of like from 2009 to 2015, kind of before I started working with a company. Before I was with them, I was kind of growing my social media. And back then, social media was easy. Instagram was all about hashtags. As long as you had the right hashtags, you were showing up on everybody's For You page, right? And Facebook was even easier because you could target market back then. You could pick what age group you wanted to shoot for. And I knew for myself, the truckers I was shooting for were 35 to 64. Those were the guys that took care of their trucks, that cared. Well, now that industry shifted to a younger generation. And this younger generation is a completely different sell. So, social media for the longest time was just a digital resume, right? You were just posting up stuff that you did because that was your word of mouth. I already had, at the time social media really got booming, I already had 500 to 700 regular customers that I saw twice a year. Like that was my average number. I was doing 2 trucks a day on average. So I had between 500 and 750-ish customers that I would see twice a year. Plus I had some big fleets and some bigger customers that I traveled to, but I traveled a lot. I did Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, some in Iowa, not a whole lot in Iowa, but a little bit. I traveled quite a bit for those guys. And then I started seeing social media change to more of like Facebook was where the older crowd stayed. Instagram is kind of where my age group moved to, only because you could either post up pictures or videos and it didn't really matter. And it kind of stayed that digital resume. And then when TikTok, what was TikTok before that? Vines, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then when TikTok switched from Vines, that younger market took over because there's the baby boom thing, right? Like we're part of the baby boom generation. The next generation is even bigger than that yet because everybody doubled in population. But that younger crowd pushed to TikTok so fast, they need that instant gratification that if you don't catch them in the, what is it, 0.8 seconds, if you don't catch them in that 0.8 seconds, you don't retain them for the 3 seconds. If you don't retain them for 3, you can't retain them for 30. Like, holy cow, that's way too fast. Like our brains don't even get a chance to, you don't get a chance to comprehend what you're even watching if you're trying to learn something. And for me, it was always about educating while I was doing it, because when I first started polishing, there was 2 polishers putting out YouTube videos, 2. And both of them didn't tell you anything. It was watch me do what I do. And I ain't teaching you nothing because you're not coming after my business. And I felt bad because I was like, man, I wanted information and I couldn't find any. I wanted somebody to be able to find something, right? And yeah, social media is just different. So it depends on what you're after is what I tell you you should look for. If you want to tap into that 16 to 25 market, because those are the current truck drivers that are coming into the market on TikTok, find catchy videos, find what's working right now and shoot for that, because that's where you want to be. If you want to find a solid market that has the money to pay you right away and you don't have to worry about it, go to Instagram or Facebook, because that's where the market still is. And the truck driver groups are crazy on Facebook. If you can get into a truck driver group and get them to let you post up some stuff, you can scale your business still pretty steady.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I think it's super important to mention the catalyst of your YouTube series from like the 2009 to 2015 not only helped initiate Gravatt Garage, but probably thousands of other polish business, metal polishing, detailing, the whole 9 yards. Because I know way before Gravatt Garage was even Gravatt Garage, I was sitting in my dorm at college watching, holy shit, he's making that wheel look awesome, and he did it so fast. I need to learn more. So I think it's super important to note how much of a catalyst you had on this shop, but as much as this shop as many others.
And you know what's crazy is, like, I tell everybody all the time, I didn't do this for the fame. I didn't do it for the big Facebook and Instagram numbers. Like I wasn't trying to get famous. I wasn't trying to be known by everybody. That wasn't what I wanted at all. Like if it happened, cool, but I'm happy just being in my shop too, by myself. Like, don't bother me. I'm good. But if I got to be in a huge crowd at Louisville, I'm cool there too. Like I have a lot of anxiety when I'm at Louisville because I'm always afraid somebody's going to shoot me. But nonetheless, like every year I go to Louisville, and every year I'll get at least 25, 30 people that'll come up to me and they're like, I want to thank you because I polish on the weekends thanks to your videos, and my family's living a better life because I'm making side money around my regular job. And then I'll get full-time polishers like yourself that'll come up and like, dude, I can't believe I actually get to come up and meet you because I watched you when I was getting started, and I I'm in a better position thanks to you. And I'm like, I didn't do it on purpose. It just was like, I felt bad. There was nobody putting the info out. And I deleted some of my old videos, like my 2009 stuff, because it was trash. Like, I thought about leaving it up there because I wanted to stay remembering where I started, right? But I looked back at it and I was like, I don't want somebody to watch that and do something wrong like I did at the time and hurt themselves. So I took down some of those ones that I was like, man, I'm afraid somebody's going to hurt themselves if they do it that way, because I hurt myself a lot when I was doing it that way. So I got
under a tank and right to hurt yourself.
oh my God, dude, that video, I'm telling you, when I went over to train those guys and he's like, wait till you see how we polish tanks. And he showed me that, I about lost my mind. I walked over and like held onto the cord like this, just waiting, ready to pull it apart. Cause I was like, don't ever do that again. Like, you are going to legitimately smoke yourself in the face with a buff at full speed. And I'm like, let me grab my phone. And I grabbed my phone and I have a bunch of pictures that polishers have sent me over the years of like what it looks like when a buff hits you. And like, I think he was Canadian. The one guy hit himself right here across the wrist and it tore his tendon out and everything. Like, it was horrific, the pictures he sent me. And I was like, this is what happens. And imagine your face tissue is a lot softer than your arm tissue. Like, do not ever do that again. And then the boss's son came out and he's like, we all do it that way. It's not that big a deal. And I was like, let me video this real quick, because will you guys let me share this online? Because I want to show people, do not do this. Do not do this. And I wish at the time when I uploaded that video, I had put in big words across the video, do not do this, because I put it in the caption and probably 50 polishers that day shared it. I can't believe Evan's putting this out, telling people to polish this way. I'm like, did you read the caption? The caption said, first words, do not do this ever. You will get hurt.
You're expecting too much from this generation, man.
I know. And that's why I said, I wish I had put it across the screen so that nobody could have said, oh, Evan's promoting this, because I woke up that next morning to like 50 story shares of people that tag me in the story. I can't believe Metal Polisher is telling people, training people to do it this way. And I'm like, you read that I was training in the caption, but you didn't read don't do this, because you're going to smoke yourself in the face and somebody's going to die. Like, sometimes I think like I can't do anything right. But at the same time, I had probably as many people message me about that video that were like, I polished like that and I didn't realize that that was bad. I'm like, that's terrible. The trigger's locked. If you catch an edge, where's that thing going? It's literally going to launch to your face. And yeah, if it hits you in the neck, a buff spinning at 6,000, even if you are only using a variable. I had a few guys that are like, well, I only use a variable. It can't be that bad. I'm like, let me show you a few bad pictures of variable accidents. Like 3,500 RPM on it. Most guys are running 10-inch buffs on a 3,500. 3,500 on a 10-inch is like, what's the calculation? It's like 220 mile an hour. 3,500 RPM, 10-inch buff would be 235 mile an hour, I think would be the calculation.
Yeah, so you have lots of shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's same thing, 6,000 RPM. Now, what's that motor doing? Like that's.
Yeah. And at trigger lock, when it hits you, it's not going to stop. It's just going to keep grinding. It's a grinder. It's made to grind. Like, it's just going to keep cutting. And once it's through, you're done. You're just gone. I had a polisher, a local polisher. We called him the Carney. He'd travel. He'd come through every year, and he'd stop at the truck stop when I worked at the truck wash. And I remember the ambulance coming out one year. It was a horrific accident, and I didn't see him for like a couple months. And then all of a sudden he was back, and I went out to go see him. I'm like, was that you that went in the ambulance? He's like, yeah, that was me. And he had this huge bandage on the side of his neck. And I was like, what happened? He goes, well, a buff let loose and it ran straight up his arm, and he flinched and he went like this. and it like just dug into his neck, and he lost a huge chunk of neck meat, tore his tendon right up by his collarbone. And yeah, he was able to polish still, but man, he was out of business for like 6 months trying to rehab that and get it back to normal. And that's just from a buff breaking loose. That's not one that stays on the buff and runs. But yeah, I got hammered pretty good on that post.
I mean, your fingers are right there. If they can grab, your cord can wrap. Now you can lose a hand if that cord grabs and goes. I mean, it's like a snake. It's just going to squeeze until something pops.
Yep.
I mean, we've all been hit with a buff at some point, whether it's on the knee, on the wrist, whatever it is. And we're all, I'm guilty. I'm not going to speak for this, but I'm not wearing a respirator or something. And I've also hit myself in the face with the respirator, just catch an edge the right way, and you hit the full face. And okay, maybe I should start wearing this more and more and more. And then weeks later, you're not wearing it, and then it's a cycle. But yeah, it's great. It is risk,
You can get complacent in this business. Like you can be polishing, and you're like, you get to one day. My dad always gave me this reference. The day I ride motorcycle, he goes, the day you think that you are in full control of that bike, park it, because that's the day it kills you. And I was like, yeah, okay, I get that, because you get so comfortable riding it that you do something stupid, and all of a sudden one stupid mistake that you'd have never done is the one that costs you. And I've had that happen in polishing a number of times. I'm like, I'm 27 years in this year, and each year I get a little better, but my growth now is only like 0.5% a year, right? I'm only getting just that incremental bit of better. But while I'm polishing, sometimes I'll just get like, I don't want to say cocky, but I'm so comfortable in my pattern that like I can close my eyes and hit my pattern. Like I can feel what the buff should be feeling like when it's cutting, right? It's second nature. But even now, there's been a few times where I'm like, I'm in my earbuds and my helmet, and I'm just in the zone, and I'm kind of zoned out a little bit, and all of a sudden, whack, buffer will kick back and hit me right in the respirator, wake me up, and just remind me that thing wants to eat me every day. And I'm like, all right, I gotta focus. It can get bad in a hurry. So you guys primarily. So polishing isn't the primary of your business. Detailing right now is the primary, but polishing is coming. You've been doing polishing, but polishing is going to be more primary in the near future.
Yeah, I definitely see it more. Actually, we just scheduled three trucks today for the spring. Pump truck, dump truck, tractor. Routine customer, comes back every year. But now that we have the flow and the capability, I'll say, with Mark and a couple other new hires, we should be able to pump out a lot more work. I'm thankful to not be the only one wearing a respirator these days.
I bet it comes in awfully handy knowing that you've now got some backup, because I can tell you it's been big for me. Like when I went from doing it myself to having somebody else with me, it makes a big difference. When you listen to Levi's podcast, you're going to hear like I've talked him into doing my training program during the winter, because honestly, in the winters when I get caught up on my social media, like I've been hunkered down in my office for literally a month, getting through all of my social media stuff. I have stuff planned out until May right now, because once we get in the thick of it, I'm going to get behind again. So if I get ahead now, I can get caught up. We just had a big expansion on our apparel line. So we renovated a back building to kind of expand our apparel. We do all of our own printing in-house. So now that that's done, I've got that caught up. And Levi's been doing my training in the shop. And I had a few guys come in this year that were like, oh, man, I thought it was going to be you training. I'm like, listen, Levi's as good as me. I'm envious of him, because I've dumped 27 years of knowledge into him, and he's a sponge. Like he has soaked in everything, and he's a very good teacher. Like, I don't know if I over talk and over explain things when I talk to guys, but it seemed like when I was training, it took me longer to get people the same amount of process done. Whereas Levi, there's days where we're at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and he's like, dude, this guy's killing it today. He wants to know if he can go early. Can he go early? Yeah, absolutely. So I've been very fortunate in the shop, but yeah, having those extra employees that know what they're doing, especially talented employees, definitely helps. And you guys, I'm confident you guys are going to pump out killer polish stuff. I mean, I know you guys are doing things a little different out there, but
That's the
it's gonna,
another
it's gonna
huge
stay
part.
that way.
We both have, we both kind of had our way of doing that. And with him also doing the detailing, and I did my little touches of it, but I realized, I'm doing travel detail at this point. To make $200, the amount of work and that it took for me to load the car up, get everything over there, and it's the OCD in me couldn't do detail. I can do my own things, but like once it comes to it's like at the end of the day, it's a business, and like you can't, if they're not paying you to go what you would be doing to your own vehicle, then you can't do that for them, because now you spend eight hours and then 3 hours to clean up, pack up everything, prep for $200 is crazy. So
Yeah.
I realized quick the processes with the polishing, and I realized the same thing. If I want to do this and I realize I can make my time and money a little bit better, let me try something else. Let me try something else. Let me try something else, until I kind of figured out, okay, this is like I did a wheel tonight, 23 minutes from start to finish. I know it's getting sold. I know it's getting, I don't have to sit there and do a full hour-long polish, because at the end of the day, that's not that we're paying. And it's bringing that process along to here of what I've learned over all these years. And I've tried everything. Literally, I'm not tied to anybody, so I wasn't worried about that, because I was all worried about work. I wasn't worried about social media and companies. And I had a little bit of money. I had a little bit of time. I'm working still full-time at the point. I need to figure out the quickest turnaround for the best money, figuring out what products would cost me and how long they would last. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't have a whole bunch of work, I could make a whole bar last me a year, where I could use another one where if I forgot it one day in the cold or one day out in the hot, I got to throw it away. And with experience, you start seeing what are the breakdowns. I come from also working for, a military facility. So I'm exposed to hazardous materials, everything of that nature. So I knew from my past MSDS, breakdowns, what do they use? And, with the entrepreneur mindset, you worry about everything. So now, let me obsess over this. You look at every single, what is this? Oh, it's animal fat. Oh, that's cool. Oh, what is it?
Yep.
It's filler hardener. Well, why is this guy using like this, and why is this guy using this? Oh, well, this one he can get his hands on for dirt cheap, and it'll do maybe some qualities, but this guy's using it for the same qualities, but he's also using it for polishing problems. Okay, so now I understand, like these guys are filler, this is filler, but the filler has a purpose. It's not just to get the part together. It's a diminishing compound that goes along with something else. And the chemical reaction of this product works with that. So that's why they put the two of them together. And it's understanding those, that's what excelled me to figure out the process. 23 minutes. Hey, start to finish. And that's, our wheel jig's a little shaky. So there's 7 to 2 hours. You could take you 5 minutes. It could be 20, it's factoring all that in, and now it just needs to wipe down. And hey, if I got 25 to 30 minutes in it, there's money. But if I'm worried about, I need to use this product because it's so-and-so said so, and they did it on so-and-so, and they said they used it, which 9 times out of 10, these guys aren't even using what they're promoting. And it's lacked quality. COVID happened, tariffs happened. People don't take that stuff into consideration. If it's stateside, it got affected. It 100% got affected. People weren't able to get their hands on the same materials. But if, I like to use the watch theory, like whatever my mom did with that G-Shock, it instilled something in me, but people chase that Rolex. Why are they chasing it? Because the R&D that's behind it, because it's self-winding. It doesn't tick. There's all this time and knowledge, and it's handmade. It's crafted. It's special, but then it holds its value. And down the line, hey, I can still sell this for probably more or break even. Same thing applies to literally everything. You go to that Walmart watch, well, it works. What do I need it for? Am I building a business on this? Okay, I don't need to buy the flashy name. I need to buy something that's going to make it work, something that's going to make it work in time, and something that I can now return money off of, because this is a business. It's not, you're an entrepreneur, why go work for somebody else? You can collaborate and you can work together. And I think that's what grows the industry, is companies that want to work with you for the benefit of the good. But if it's just for them to want to make a quick dollar off of you and push whatever this product is and whatever we say it's going to do, but they know nobody's going to dig into it. There's a recent product I looked at, and it's water and alcohol. You're selling this for $20, $19 a bottle. You don't get free shipping for anything under $75. So you got to buy 3-4 bottles of this to get free
3 or 4 bottles,
and $14 to $15 depending on where you're at. And you're expecting something, but it's water and alcohol. I can go to Walmart and pick up the same thing, get 10 times the amount, if not 100 times the amount, and it cost me $15 a car ride.
Yep. You know what's great is I look at both of your social medias, and neither one of you has right up top, sponsored by blah, blah, blah. And even the guys that I work with, they're like, where do you need me to tag you up? I'm like, I don't. Just people seeing that you're using it, I'm good. I don't need a huge Time to Shine logo on your page. I don't need you to put me in every single post, because I was down that road. I had to tag somebody in a lot of my posts for a number of years, and I reshot videos because I didn't mention their name often enough. Like, just it wasn't fun, and that's not what I ever wanted.
Went into business to work for yourself, and now you're essentially working for somebody else again. And you should work for customers. That's the person you always have to work for somebody. Work for the people that are giving you the money, the people that are taking hard-earned money. It's really hard right now, and they're giving it to you. So give them the quality, give them the time. Be a person. Don't be a robot that somebody tells, hey, push this, push this, push this. Well, hey, this is what works. I understand that this is your daily driver. I'm going to give you this. You're a soccer mom with 13 kids. Here are some things that are going to work for you when you want to keep up on this. If you have a little bit of time, your husband, whatever.
We have a small storefront here, and when I was starting to establish the storefront for detailing and metal polishing supplies, we have a range of different product brands in here, and a lot of customers prefer one brand over another. But do I point them to one specific? No. Hey, this is our process. This is what I like. If you like that, great. But I have it on the shelf. I'll happily supply it to you either way. But this is great. This is what works for us. And that's kind of how that's again how I learned. So diving in more than just a YouTube certification from Evan Steiger. Back in 2019, Chris Pointer out of Woodstock.
Another great polisher.
He and I were DMing back and forth. I love the old school welds, and he just kind of hit me and said, come out, I'll teach you. I was having issues, my Harbor Freight polisher and a bunch of generic buffs. And I literally drove from New Jersey to Virginia one night. He invited me to his house. I stayed in his garage, and he taught me his process. And he used, at that time, a variety of different things. Wasn't loyal to one brand, but this is what worked for him. And I followed that process for many years. I've kind of changed and developed it to what we use now. But the fact, one, that Chris really isn't on social media that much anymore, but he is, again, kind of like Rick we mentioned, one of the top founders, top polishers on the East Coast.
I would agree.
And his generosity, as well as, just teaching, hey, this is what works. And this is why it works for me. It might not work for you, but laid it all out, no secrets. I mean, I'm so thankful for that opportunity, because that, again, greenlit so much more growth on my end.
I call him givers. He's another good one that's giving back to the industry. He's not worried about you guys stealing his customers. He's more concerned about keeping his plate full and watching other people grow with him, because he knows he can't polish everything. We all know we can't polish everything. if you picked up tomorrow and moved to a new area, you could pick up new customers tomorrow just by going out and hustling. And you don't have to go and steal somebody else's customers or target somebody else's customers. You could just go and get them. It's not a difficult formulation.
And that's, yeah, even to add on that, like I had one set of welds, my first set of welds. He was known for his weld.
Mm-hmm.
Rick, I had my conversations with Rick. He's like, hey, talk to Chris, hit him up, sent me his phone number. I'm doing pigeon walks around the mall for 2 hours because, he's another good old boy. He's down south. He's another one. You want to get him off the phone, good luck. But he had no problem. Hey, here's Kurt. What? Yeah. Who? Oh, here's Jackson Lee. What? Oh, here, check this website out. This is where you need to, this is where I buy my stuff from. It has all these different brands. This is where you get it, blah, blah, blah. And like, sell me the results that you get from your process. You don't have to sell me a product, but like, hey, you might like this bar with that buff and this bar with that buff, or you might like this detail spray. You might like that hand polish, this, and everything has its place. Like, you need aggressive.
Yep.
Just a wax. Like it's not always a cookie cutter process. Like you have to, there's a time and place, and people forget, we're up north. Like we have every season. So people don't take into consideration humidity and, salt.
Humidity plays a huge factor. Humidity and temperature, man, is a huge factor in polishing.
Everyone will tell you, oh, you can't polish under 60 or 70 degrees. Like you can polish whenever you want if you have the right products, but
you can. It's just less than ideal.
And hey, I might have to change. I used to be able to do 3,500. Now I have to do 6K. I have to get heat in there. I might have to pull the butane out and sit here and heat the tank up. But whatever it takes, you put in there. It's not, hey, this is going to work. And that's how like everything kind of gets pushed, which is kind of gross because it's like, I agree with the kits. This is cool. This will get you this, but don't tell me it's going to get me. It's not end all be all. Yeah.
It's not a magic wand.
And learn the whole situation before you even try to suggest a product.
I think we've talked kind of around the circle of products, but at the end of the day, time behind the buff 100% is critical.
Yeah.
Whether you're starting off, I started off with a kit and 3 buffs, and there's Harbor Freight polisher, and for an 18-year-old kid, great. I would love to see it. I love to see somebody else getting interested in this industry. But you cannot replace time behind the buff. There's no matter what you're,
and don't do one set of wheels and next thing you know you're a polisher. Like I had in the beginning I had a set of forces, nobody around polished. There was nobody that I could find, and then there was a kid CJ that was up in PA. And then I think Ty kind of showed up in there. But other than that, like local, and that you have to focus local. I'm not worried about hitting up the guys in Zephyr that are in California, which like originally that's who I wanted. Like I wanted to hit them up because they were everywhere. I was buying their product, and like I was in my mom's and dad's unfinished basement with my Harbor Freight grinder that I just picked up, and I dig it. I just time and time and time, and then it was, hey, all right, my other buddy had a wrap shower. Hey, here's a rusty wheel. Take it home, play with it. Oh, here's some old pipe. And I just kind of went out. I went to the junkyard. I grabbed them, and I got really good at figuring out a process that worked for me at the time. Got me results that I could say, hey, Instagram, back to the resume thing, like this is my resume. This is the results that I'm selling. I'm not trying to sell you a product. I'm trying to sell you what I can do. And what I can do for you is give you this result from my process. And here's what I know. Here's what I found how to protect it. Do with the information with what includes.
And that.
Yeah. So I can tell you from the chemistry side, like I could grab if I was out in the middle of nowhere right now and I ran out of brown bars, or I ran out of green, or I ran out of purple, ran out of white, I could go to a local truck stop, grab a bar of Keystone, grab a bar of Zephyr. Am I gonna get the job done? Absolutely. And am I gonna keep doing it until the customer's happy? Absolutely. Can I do it? Yes. Am I gonna do it the way I want to do it? Probably not. I'm not gonna get it in the amount of time I want to get it done. I'm not going to get the quality I want in the speed I want, because those products are not tailored to the way I polish and the process that I have built over the years, right? And on the chemistry side, there are so many products out there that when I look at the MSDS sheet, I'm like, that's filler, and that's filler for no reason. Like, it's just to make the bar feel like it has weight and not just like a bar of chalk, right? And these fillers are in it because it's unrendered tallow, which is non-cleaned product. Why would you use a non-cleaned product? Because it's cheaper, right? So now I can give away bars for free because they only cost me 30 cents to make that bar. Whereas, like, I think my cheapest bar is, I think it's my brown, which is, I think, $8 or $10. And it's like, the margin on it is, you'd be blown away at what the margin is just because of the quality of the products that are in it. Like, I refuse to use unrendered tallow because I know unrendered tallow has other things in it, like excess beef fats. That's what tallow is. And if you use unrendered, which means unclean, you're not going to get a consistent finish because you have other contaminants in it. You may have, in a barrel, you could end up with part of hide fur, really. You could end up with part of the hide still in the barrel. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why you would want to put that in there unless you're skimming it out and cleaning it yourself. But which is a whole nother process. You would not want to do that. It stinks terribly. But there's a lot of things that goes down to that, and especially in the liquids. Funny story. One of my real good friends, I won't use his name because he's sponsored by another company, but he's like, I really truly love this product, Evan. He goes, we're planning on switching to your products this year, but I'm really going to miss this one product. And I was like, the prep product for prepping for ceramic. I'm like, do you know what that product is? He's like, it smells like alcohol. I'm like, 100% it's alcohol. And I said, to be honest with you, if you look at the MSDS sheet, which is funny that you actually posted it up, it's only 10 to 30%. And they don't even have a number. They just dump in some and fill the rest with distilled water. I said, you could go to Walmart today, buy 1 gallon of 90% or 99% alcohol, or you could order it on Amazon for $20. A 99% alcohol gallon for $20 or less on average. Then get yourself 20 gallons of distilled water for what, $1.99 a jug? And you can make 21 gallons off of 1 gallon. Like, it dilutes out 20 to 1. So you dilute out 90% 20 to 1, and you have the exact same product, and you will never have to buy it again. You're going to spend, what would that be? 20 gallons at $2, $40, and then $20. So $60. For $60, you can make 21 gallons, where they're selling one bottle for, I think, $15. So $15 for one 32 ounce.
Right there.
Oh, so $20. So $20 for a 32 ounce. So $20 on a 32 ounce. How many 32 ounces are in a gallon?
They're 24 ounces.
Oh, they are 24 ounces. Oh, so the bottle changed. Okay. So 24 ounces. How many of those are in a gallon? 6, correct?
Math smart.
I think there's six of those in a gallon. So even if it was only 6 by 21 is 121. So after you've bought 3 bottles, you've missed out on 117 bottles of free bottles. Like, that's a no-brainer to me. So he's like, you're kidding me. I said, seriously, go get yourself a gallon and don't make it as strong as you want. I mean, you're only spending $20 on that bottle. Get yourself as much distilled water as you want and make it stronger if you want it stronger. But
And it's
we use it.
protectant, which I don't remember ever learning that alcohol and water protected anything other than stripping all of the
Protection.
It doesn't.
properties that are there.
It really doesn't. It strips all the oils. But
Yeah.
if you put scent in it, that's got protectant in it because it's an oil. So honestly, could you use any products? Yes, you could use any products. Could you pick up a kit somewhere and make it work? Absolutely. But I'm going to use the stuff I use because I want to get it done in X amount of time. I don't like cleaning in between steps. Menzerna is a great product. I just find it's greasier than I want it to be. But does it work really well in low temperatures? Absolutely, it works phenomenal in low temperatures because it melts super easy and it sticks in the pad really well. So if you're at 32 degrees outside when shit's freezing, you could absolutely use that to get the job done. Are you going to be miserable doing it? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've been there.
But at the same time, you guys can just by switching up your products. When I don't work in the cold anymore, call me bougie, I guess, but I'm kind of set in my ways. I'm going to get you in my shop and I'm going to heat it up. And if I can't do it in my shop in the winter, I'm just not doing it. If I can't get it in, I'm going to schedule you for spring, summer, or fall because I'm not working outside anymore. Call me old, call me whatever you want. I'm cool with it. But I've passed that point in my career where I don't want to do that anymore. So if I can't get it inside, I'm not going to do it. But I will do everything I can to get it inside. If you want to park it next to the building and I got to pull wheels off and roll them inside, even though they didn't need to come off, yeah, I'll do it. I'm just going to charge you accordingly. But yeah, you can make any of that stuff work. It's not an issue. It's just all about what you're willing to put in it, willing to do with it.
I think everybody should try everything. There's nothing wrong with it all, but instantly get so bought into one thing so fast. It works. And if somebody can't explain to you why it works for them, then all right, proceed with caution, but ask questions. See, hey,
Yep.
what environment are you? Are you in a heated shop all the time, or are you in a shop that has a wood stove and, it's going to be 24 degrees here. The metal's going to be 14 degrees to the touch. And what are you in? What are you using? What's your experience? How were you a McGuire's and a foam drill guy? Do you even know what an LA is?
Yeah.
You can't just,
Right.
you can't just sell somebody something and without even asking a couple of questions. Like you went to school, like it's the first thing of business is figure out your customer, figure out what they how can you make their life easier and better.
I've said that with the influencer sales for years, right? I don't know if I've ever bought something because there was a pretty girl on the cover. Like I don't think I've ever bought something specifically for that, but I can tell you which group of people do. I've met a bunch of them that are like, I bought this because so promoted it, which is great. And I've had some of these people reach out to me and they're like, will you sponsor me? And I always ask them, like, what does sponsor mean to you? And they're always like, well, so-and-so pays me $1,500 a month. I'm like, I want nothing to do with that. Like, they're like, oh, I thought you wanted your product to get out there. I'm like, I do. But if I pay you $2,000 a month, you're going to go to the next guy and tell him I paid you $2,000 a month. And now the next guy's going to go, yeah, I'll pay you $3,000 a month. You're a big influencer. I'll pay you $3,000 a month. And you know what? You're not going to be loyal to my product because you were using it. You were loyal to the money to begin with. So that's the wrong conversation. Now, if you want to come hang out in my booth at Louisville and get the exposure for free, cool. If you're using my product, I will gladly put you in front of my promotion and I will get you all the advertising that I can possibly get you to help you out. But if I simply have to pay you for that exposure, we're having the wrong conversation right out the get-go because I know you can be bought by the next company. I've watched a ton of influencers get bought from one company to the next. And even better is I've met a lot of these influencers that promote XYZ company. And then I look in their trailers and they have a bunch of that product laying in there because they have to say they use it. Right. But I see their names come across my order sheets on my website all the time. And I'm like, you buy a lot of my product. You buy a lot of my product to be promoting somebody else's stuff, which is cool. I have zero issues with that whatsoever. But I'm like, I see some of these guys working at truck shows and I'm like, I didn't see you grab a single one of that company's bars to do any work at all. Like you used a lot of other people's company stuff and you promoted. I watched your Instagram after and you posted up that all you used at this show was their products. And I'm like, that's sad to me because you're not building your brand, you're building their brand.
Do you see that the same in the big truck market and big truck shows as about like pickup truck shows?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the semi truck market is just as bad. So I did a lot in the lifted truck stuff. I know you saw me at Daytona. but we did a lot with the lifted truck guys, and I got in with the big guys right out the gate. Like I wasn't in with I'm a very structured person. Like if I schedule something with you and you don't show up, I was never talking to you again. Like I ended up with Big Willie, Willie Brown, dude. If he told me he was going to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, he was there at 5:45 in the morning, ready to go. I got in with Craig Hurd. He was huge with American Force. If he told me he was going to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, he was there at 5:45 waiting on me. You know, like I'm gonna get there early kind of guy because I don't ever want to be late. And I didn't deal with a lot of the guys that were big influencers building stuff. I got in with the guys that I knew were talking to the right people, and the guys that I knew I could build friendships with and build family relationships with, versus the guys that were just using me because one, I was doing a good job, or I was cheap, or I was sponsored by XYZ company, right?
Like,
And
I
I saw that a lot in the lifted scene, and I see the exact same thing, because even in the lifted scene, when I was doing that stuff at Daytona, I know some other polishers that were sponsored by other teams that were using the other team's stuff, but still promoting that they were doing that. And those same people also were in the big truck scene, and they were doing the same thing in the big truck scene. And I still, to this day, I laugh because I follow a lot of polishers. I'm friends with a lot of guys. And I've had this conversation with some of the guys I'm friends with. I'm like, I see you promoting their stuff all the time, but I know you're not using their stuff. Like, why? They're like, dude, they cut me a check. I'm like, I would not sleep at night. Like it's not just the lifted truck scene, it's the big truck scene too.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned about your clientele base for the show scene stuff. Atlantic City Truck Meet is our home show. We've done it for many years.
It's close.
Yeah, this year we're traveling for Tennessee as well. Pennsylvania, Seaside. So I don't want to say up and coming. So we've done a bunch of other local shows, but in the larger scene, I guess you would say, more this year than any other year. But it's cool to see that our client base kind of follows us for those shows, not based on the products, but based on the relationships, like you just mentioned.
And we know if we show up at any show without being so involved with everybody else's company, and we focused on our own, we build relationships. So I know that I could probably show up to any truck show and have jobs and be able to jump in and help out. And there was times in Atlantic City, hey, we got done. I have too much work. Come over here, hump these out. I don't care. It's all yours. Like they're not worried about making $1 off of it because it was their customer. They're worried about getting these trucks in the show because their lines wrapped around the building, and because they build a good name. And then they might just have more customers that follow around more shows. And it's everybody. If you're not worried about battling each other, it's the industry. Work together. Then we can all eat. There's more than enough for everybody. Like I don't want anyone to be able to, either cover their expenses for the show, because then they're not going to want to come back next year. And like I enjoy seeing my boy here every year. So like
absolutely.
Here, you make it worth your while. Like I know it was a 15-minute trip for me or 45-minute trip for me, so I don't need all of this overhead. Like hey, you made it so I can pack up early and hit the show for once and not have to worry about sitting here all day.
My biggest thing was like I do some work for a customer and I was using my product, right? And this is kind of when I started pulling out of the lifted truck scene. Was I would take care of one of my customers with my product, and then the show would come around and the models would walk around and they'd take pictures with somebody else's product. And I was like, dude, that hurt. Like that hurt me, because I was like, I did all the work on that truck and I didn't want to start a war. I didn't want to start a fight with nobody. I was like, these are my friends and my family. Right. And I started talking to my guys. I'm like, listen, I don't care that you guys post up pictures with the models and stuff. Like that doesn't bother me. It just bothers me that like I did all the work and now they're trying to take all the credit for it. And a lot of my guys were like, cool, I'll just tell them no more doing that. Like they just can't bring their models by my truck no more. And I was like, wow, that was a pretty easy conversation, but it was because I had those friendships and those relationships with people that they stuck up for me like that. And to this day, in the lifted truck scene, I haven't been to LST in like, I don't know, 4 years since COVID.
Yep.
So what are we in right now? Shit. We're in 26, man. Holy cow. So it's been 6 years already. So 2019 was my last LST. And I still this year had a group of guys message me. They're like, hey, are you coming down? Like we want to get dialed in. Like we haven't been dialed in a while. Like you were our guy down here. Are you coming this year? Tell us you're coming this year. I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. I should go back down, but it is a long way to LST for me from here. But if I could find somebody local, I'd partner up with somebody down there in a minute because there's so much work down there. But I do miss Daytona. Daytona was a lot of fun for a lot of years until it got mucked up. I always tell myself I want to come out to see Atlantic City Truck Meet because it looks super cool. It looks like it's a good time. I am looking forward to coming out to that truck show in Maryland this year, just because it's a different area for me. I haven't been to that area very often, so it'll be a new market for myself. I do know some people there that know who I am, so it'll be nice. I'll be able to come in, talk to people pretty easily. But for the general consensus, I don't know who else knows me over in that direction that would even, humor a conversation. So it'll be interesting going to another new location because most of the shows I do, like I've been doing for a number of years. I don't take on very many new shows anymore. But yeah, that lifted truck scene was it was very different. It was cancerous. That's probably the best way to use it. And a lot of the guys coming in, there was no loyalty. There was no like on time at all. Like most guys were just like, yeah, I'll be there at 8. And then it was like, it'd be noon and I'm like, hey, where are you at? They're like, oh, well, I was over here in the parking lot and there was a washer over here and he washed me and his polisher touched me up quick. So I don't really need anything anymore. I'm like, cool. Glad I had you on my schedule. He's like, you got a schedule? Yeah, that's how life works. But I didn't like that at all. So the only reason I went to most of the lifted shows at the end was just because I had a really good group of clientele. I had a really good friend that I made in Canada. Brad Linky did all of his stuff. He's even building a semi right now. And he sent me all of his semi parts one year. And hell, I drove his semi parts back to Canada to deliver them for him. Like, super cool guy. Went and hung out with him. And then Big Willie, just talked to him last week even. I haven't done work for him in probably 6-7 years, and we got to talking. I'm like, hey, you still got the white and orange truck? He's like, absolutely. He's like, I don't think I'll ever sell that thing. He's like, that's my baby. I was like, you know what, maybe next year for Louisville, maybe I'll have you in my booth outside at Louisville. He's like, hell yeah. He's like, you let me know, I'd come. Like, that'd be fun to just get it out. I haven't had it out in 6 years. I'm like, damn, that'd be pretty cool. But that's the friendship I made. And Craig Hurd, he built some of the baddest rides out there. And shouldn't say this too loud, he's going to get a big head, but him and I became really good friends. His family and my family, like, we've kind of meshed together as one big family. Him and his family have flown out here and stayed at my house. I've flown out there and stayed at his house. When he was moving to his new house, I flew out there to surprise him, to help him move because he was just in a bad mood. And he's flown out here a number of times. We went and hung out at Six Flags for 4th of July together. And I mean, it's just been a great relationship. But those guys were legitimate players. Like, they were the ones that they cared and weren't just jumping from brand to brand to brand. And it was nice to see because, man, even in the wheel scene, like, you see people jumping from wheels to wheels to wheels. And polishing isn't the only industry that jumps brands, but it's because of that influencer life that's out there right now. And the amount of money that people are dumping into it, it's stupid. Like, everything's gotten, I don't want to say ruined because it isn't ruined, but it really got muddied up by all of these brands just paying big money and giving. I mean, it was rare back in the day for somebody to give away a free set of wheels or a free set of polishing supplies or whatever. And then all of a sudden, boom, it was like common. People were giving away pallets of stuff.
And it's crazy because you get into it and everybody's got, no, go. I gotta figure out how to word that a little bit better.
I just echo it all. It's almost, I don't want to say one-up culture, but like you're always, what's next? What's next? Okay, so I got to rebuild the whole truck or change it up for an extra sleep. You know, you never almost. I'm guilty of this too. I've not rebuilt, but I've changed my. So I've an L5P and I've had 6 sets of wheels on the truck. I 1,000% guilty of it. I mean, none of them were sponsored. None of them. They're all old school welds because that's my thing. But it's always what's next. What can I make different? What can set me apart next show season? So the same people look at my truck for a fifth time.
And everybody that wants to start a business just thinks it's going to be profitable. Like, oh, I open doors tomorrow, I'm going to make profit. And it's realistically, like statistics show it's that 11th year that you actually start, building your business and everything fails within that first 10 years because people don't have they don't have grit anymore. And they're not willing to go, hey, I'm not making money because my clientele is not enough and I'm just not there yet. So I'm going to have to go get another job. And I might have to work at night and make it fit my schedule. It's, hey, this guy, the first person that flashes money into me, I'm going to grab it and, they're going to build my business for me. And and there's going to come a day when they're going to look at you and go, hey, your numbers aren't performing like they used to. Sorry. And then you're not going to get reposted. Well, guess what? All of your marketing,
branding,
and everybody, all your customers are gone. They're on to the guy that's still by that customer. And like trying to get them to follow with you isn't going to happen 9 times out of 10. They're going to say, oh, well, they probably dropped you for a reason. So, oh, hey, here's an OnlyFans model. Let's follow them. And it's just crazy because there's no authenticity in anything. And then you're going to now be 4 or 5 years into business. And guess what? Now you got to close the doors and you're 30 years old and you got to go find a real job. And you have no life skills. You know how to work for somebody else and do what they tell you to do. But like, you don't know how to work for yourself at this point. You don't have your own mind. You don't have your own thoughts. You're a puppet. Like
it makes me sad because honestly, when I left, I had some customers that stayed with the brand and they were like, you promoted it for that long. I'm like, you're right. I did. And I didn't hold that against them. And I didn't start fights with them. I just let them go. I was heartbroken on some of the guys because I was like, man, I thought I was closer to that person. And I look back at it now and I was like, man, that was the wrong way to look at it. Because when I developed my own brand, I would say probably 90% of the people that I was really close to were on Team Evan. I'm like, no, there is no team. There's no team. There's no team Time to Shine. There's no Team Evans. That isn't a thing. Are we all friends? Absolutely. Thank you for supporting me. I love that. We are family, 100%. I don't need you posting up Team Evan. I don't need you posting up Team Time to Shine. Like I didn't even want that. I still to this day do not want that. If you want to take Time to Shine, cool. I'm awesome. I will repost you in a minute. Like you tag me, I will repost you. I've even reposted some of my hate stuff just because I think it's funny sometimes. Like, great, cool. But I can tell you now, 6 years dejected from that situation, I've had some long conversations with some of those customers who have come back and were like, we're sorry, we should have went with you a long time ago. But, we were so wrapped up in getting that free pallet or free product that we thought we were part of something. And then we realized when our views and our numbers went down on our social media, we weren't needed anymore, that we weren't friends with those guys. We were just there for their numbers. And now you were never begging us for the numbers. You were never sending us free products just to keep us around. Like you held your integrity through that whole thing. And I got lucky. Like, honestly, if I had stayed around for 2 more years, I probably could have got wrapped into that and ended up selling part of my soul for it. Like I got lucky and got out. But I know a lot of guys that are so far in it that I see guys that have like a couple hundred followers that are full sponsored, and they're not growing at all. It's like, what is that gaining you? Like, you haven't gained new customers, new followers, new clientele at all from this sponsorship. So other than getting some free products and a tag once in a while, like, what are you benefiting from that? And most guys don't have an answer other than I got free product or I got a paycheck in the mail. Like that was their only answer. And I tell them the same thing you guys just tapped on was, what happens when that ends? Like, where does your business go from there? Because if your customers do decide to stay with that company, now you get left behind because they want to use the same product you were promoting, even though you weren't using it. They want to stay with it thinking that was what was achieving their quality. And it isn't the same. And I'm loyal to the bone, man. I'll go to war for somebody until you push me the wrong way. And then it's hard for me to come back from that. Because once I feel wronged, I'm very old school. Like my mom can hold a grudge like nobody's business. I love my mom to death, but that's where I get it from. And once I get to that point, like, it's hard for me to come back. Like, I've given a few guys like 6, 7, 8 chances, and I'm like, why do I keep giving this person that chance when I know he's going to burn me again? But then there's other people that I cut them off instantaneously. I'm like, nope, this is never going to work out. Like, I see exactly who you are. And it's a tough spot to be in.
It's just, it's gross because you're selling your soul to somebody that most people just want to be a part of things. Like, they just want to have like 90% of people, like, you live in a world again where it's 15 seconds. And we grew up in a generation of don't come home till the lights come on, and half the towns that we had, I didn't even have street lights. Like, it was just
Us too.
you wandered and you met the neighborhood kids and you found out, like, you didn't know anybody. You just, hey, that kid's got a bike and he rides by our house like 4 or 5 times a day. Hey, you want to play basketball? And you had that sense of like being a part of something. And now there's none of that. Everybody's on screens. Yeah, they're all isolated and they're just trying to find something to fit in the world that they know. And it's put the phone down and just go walk down the street, knock on a door and ask them, hey, you need anything? Like, hey, I'm your neighbor. Here's some baked goods. Like, there's none of that anymore. It's screen after screen after screen. And
it still is here. We're pretty rural here yet.
Even more to the polishing sense. I think you're like the sense of, like, I know I felt it when I worked with a couple other brands in the past is, okay, this is my team. This is who I can lean on and things of that nature. And I still have a good relationship with all those companies. We use some of their stuff and not all their stuff, whatever it is. But it's that team that working towards a common goal, like, and for going in the industry, that's critical, especially for the learning curve. So whether you're being sold, great information or poor information, it's that sense of team. And if you're part of a team that's so big because they're throwing it to everybody and nobody has to earn anything to be part of the team, you're going to show up to a show. And like, if you're part of the team, you used to be able to show up to shows. They had a booth. Hey, here, work on this. We have some work lined up for you. But if now there's 60 people part of this team, you show up to a show, now nobody can eat, and let's just sell product. Now we just cut out half of our, income, and the income doesn't go to the people that are doing the work anymore. It just goes to the guy that's selling the product. And where's the industry going to grow? How are you being taken care of? How are they actually helping you if you're just a number to them? And if you don't have the best income on their side, then they're not going to that's going to be the person, if there is somebody at the show polishing, they're only going to invite the one guy. They're going to say, hey, he's our biggest producer. We need to use this for content. He's going to do one truck and he's going to get paid for the day. And they're going to make sure everything's covered, compared to
back to the small town way. We don't care. We show up at a show. Hey, you want this truck? Here's $300. Here, you want this truck? Here's $300. And it's.
I'll tell you the way I look at it.
That's what matters. It's not.
The industry as a whole should be a team.
Right.
Like, there is so much work that all of us are going to eat. If everybody worked together instead of hating on each other and killing each other, like, I've talked to guys that are on other teams in the last 2-3 months that are like teams sponsored by somebody that are like, Evan, you got any work down in my area? Yeah, cool. Here's some customers that I used to deal with down in your area. Call them up, see if they got anything. I'll call them and tell them that you're looking for work and that, you know, expect your phone call. Like, I've helped other people out, and not a lot of people understand those are some of the things that I personally do. But I feel like as an industry, Levi and I have talked about this a number of times. Like, why can't we get grinders for our business? The reason why we can't get tailored grinders for our business is the metal polishing industry is so small. It's only a couple thousand actual real polishers, other than like industrial scale stuff, right? On the industrial scale stuff, I've been in a building in Tijuana that had 1,000 Hispanics that were doing, you know, 3,000 wheels a day. You know, it was just unbelievable, the numbers that they were pumping out of that place. I think it was more like 10,000 wheels a day, and they couldn't keep up. Like, they could have tripled their workforce and still been behind for prime wheel. But for guys like us, there's only really a couple thousand worldwide. Like, there's not this huge number of metal polishers. I know there's metal polisher groups on Facebook that look like there's thousands of people, but a lot of these are just truck drivers doing their own truck. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but you find me a polishing group, I will ask you, find me a polishing group that actually puts out real information, because almost all the polishing groups are owned by one company on Facebook, and every single one of them is just farming for content. They're not actually helping each other. I get invited to polish groups all the time, and I'll like look through the page for a minute, and I'm like sack swinging, sack swinging, sack swinging, sack swinging, sack swinging, dick swinging. Like, every one of them is just promoting how much better I am than you are. And I'll see somebody ask a question, and I'll look through the comments, and I'll see, don't hit up Evan because he's going to tell you just to make it shiny pits, and you need to start at 80 grit and work your way all the way up. I'm like, telling that guy that just started to start at 80 grit, he is going to ruin that piece that he's working on. Very few people right out the gate can start at 80 grit and work their way up to 600. And you touched on it earlier. Not much replaces that time being behind the grinder. Like, you have to have that time in to build your process, build your pattern, build a repetition that you can follow. And I can tell you, I've trained over 300 people through my personal program. And I can tell you, most of those were just guys that wanted to polish their own trucks and keep their buddies nice in their area. I can tell you, out of all of those people, I've met on two hands guys that got it right out the gate and were instant great polishers. They didn't need that time behind the grinder. They just understood it. My brother-in-law is one. He comes and works for me part-time once in a while. Like, if he just wants some cash on a weekend or something, he'll come work for me. I showed him how to polish fuel tanks one time. I don't know if he just understood it or if he's just a brute. I have no idea what it is, but he can polish tanks as good as me, and he only polishes a couple times a year. Like, he is phenomenal at it. He can't do wheels. He'll do a box if he has to, but if I put him on a tank, I could put him on tanks all day long, and he is as good as me, and all he does is a couple times a year. It's unbelievable. Levi, he caught on to it absolutely right away. There's a couple other polishers that I've trained through the program that just picked it up right away. First day, grabbed a 6K, and they were banging out killer stuff, and they got through all the beginner training program in 2 days instead of 3, and on the third day, I trained them some advanced stuff because they were just that good right out the gate. But out of those 300, 290 of them were like, my God, some of these guys. I trained a guy. Here's a good example. I trained a guy that had been polishing for 30 years. This was back when I did just single day training. I didn't do like a 3-day and a 2-day that I have structured now. That's my only way I train anymore. I don't do single day training. But I offered single day training years back. And this guy came in, he said he'd been polishing for 30 years. The only thing he wanted to learn was the ends of fuel tanks, because every end of a fuel tank he ever did was lines. And I was like, okay, cool. Back then I was hungry. I just needed the money in the winter, you know? So I brought him in for 4 hours. I sat and trained him how to not leave lines in the back of his tanks. Pressure was a huge issue. His technique was terrible, and he had no pattern whatsoever. He just was winging it. So I built him a pattern, had him replicate my pattern. After 4 hours, he nailed it. He was getting it spot on every single time. I'd acid it, he'd polish it, it was perfect. I'd acid it, he'd polish it, it was perfect. I was like, all right, you've gotten it 3 times in a row, perfect. I'm going to walk away. You're not going to hear me talking to you. You're not going to hear me adjusting your pattern. I walked away, and he went right back to the way he was polishing. I was watching on my security cameras. And I came back out. He goes, see, I told you, I can't do it without leaving lines. I said, you went back to your pattern, and you went back to the way you were doing it and not following the pattern I showed you. His exact words, and I kid you not, his exact words were, so I guess I've just been doing it wrong all these years. And I said, I never once told you were doing it wrong. You came here because you wanted to learn how to do it better. Doing it the way you're doing it, you've got a whole group of clientele that's cool with you leaving lines and stuff. They don't care. They've been paying you for 30 years. You didn't need to come here to change anything. You came here because you wanted to do better. If you were coming here just for the justification for me to tell you that you were doing just fine the whole time, I'll tell you that, because you were. I know plenty of polishers that leave lines and everything, and nobody cares, because most customers can't see it, nor do they care if they're just looking for shiny pits. But if you're looking to step up and do better because you want to bring in a higher clientele, I'll help you get there. He's like, well, that's really what I wanted, is I wanted you to tell me that it was okay. I was like, you're okay. Like, you didn't need to pay me to do that. You could have just had me do that for you over the phone. So we spent another 2-3 hours getting it fixed up, and I still see his pictures online all the time. And I'm like, he's still doing the same stuff he was doing, but his customers pay it. So I can't hate on the guy. You know, like, he did it for himself and he built a business around it. Nobody cares. But I see so many polishers in these groups and online all the time. You guys have seen it. I've got one polisher that really, really hates me. He'll walk around the shows and take pictures of anything I polished. Got a flashlight out. He'll try to post up anytime he can from Louisville or any other show to post up how terrible my work is. I'm like, cool, but you know what? That truck won best of show at Louisville. The judges didn't care. They didn't see it.
And that's what I think, part of that toxic environment with social media. Everybody's so quick to comment. They don't know the prior conditions. They don't know the customer's budget. They don't know what the customer's goals were. I mean, those are
facts,
items to running the business. And
are we in Polishers Church right now? Preach.
Everybody's just looking, and this hits home with me because I've been part of that's where I learned, you know. It was videos, YouTube videos, a lot of Euro videos, Texas Premier. They were one of the other guys that were putting some work out, and
Kevin Clapp. Shout out to Kevin Clapp.
It was very minimal stuff out there. So you went everywhere that there was. I joined every Facebook group. And then I think it was right around 2018, 2019, there was this huge fad of building followers and selling accounts. And that's exactly what happened. And these bigger companies came in, bought the accounts out. And like, to this day, I make a comment and I'm genuinely just trying to help. Tell them exactly the process. And I'll write out 10 minutes, 15 minutes worth of information in a comment. And it's a novel. But I break down every step, every speed, every hand position, because I've done it to the point now where I don't wear headphones 9 times out of 10 because I use all my senses. Like, same thing like you were saying, eyes closed. I know exactly what to hear. I know exactly how to feel this. I know I can run a 6K on a face if I really wanted to. I'm not saying to do it, but I know it's not going to run away on me. It's time and time, but if this is, like you said, like weekend guy, okay, I'm not going to suggest this. I know exactly what to look for. So, hey, you tell me a picture, I can tell you, hey, that's your sanding marks. You need to sand a little bit more. And what did you sand to? Well, 5,000 grit. There's your other problem. It's
way too far.
These things, you have to understand how the products work and what you're looking for. If you're going to hit it with a mother's ball, sure, 5,000 it up, wet sand it, and hit it with a mother's ball, you'll get a shine. But if you're looking for a show shine, that's not going to happen. You need,
But so-and-so told me I could cut it out at 220 already. Yeah, you sure can. You should go talk to them and ask them how they do that, because they don't do that. They run it to 600 or 800, but they tell you 220 because they want to sell you that product.
And now everybody, like, even just trying to put that information out, I get shadowing. Like, I'm not going against guidelines, but so you can't kick me out, but you're deleting all my comments. So now, now I have the message and hey, cool. Thank you. Because now I look at it as a bright side. Now I'm building a one-on-one relationship with somebody else. I'm reaching out to them. I'm getting them in their messages. Well, now that guy might have 10 buttons. Well, now that guy, you guys just helped me out here. And it's not, comments are just for the most likes. So everybody's trying to make fun of you or try to dig you down because they want everyone to go in there and like your comment. And now you're cool for 5 seconds. Move on. And it's that instant, again, we're back to that instant gratification is, hey, I'm here for the long term. Here's my phone number. Here's where our shop is. If you're in town, if you want to come out, my doors are open. I'm not, and I'll come out on a Sunday. And if you sit here and we build a relationship, I'm not going to charge you to sit here and answer a couple of your questions and have a Sunday with you. Like, it's
absolutely,
it's not helping anybody. And like, if I'm sitting in a whole class, okay, maybe if there's, your time is what it is, but like, that's not my first thing here. I want to get you the right things the first time, because guess what? Now you bought $80 worth of product that isn't going to work for you. Not
right.
Yeah, they all work, but again, this comes back to the knowledge. Is I can make anything work. Like, I know that I have to do it this way, or have 18 more steps because that pad was way too hard and they try to sell it as a secondary cut, or
exactly.
And it's just the knowledge that now you can transfer to somebody else to shortcut all of these like things that you not wasted, but probably strong means that you had to go through. And hey, here, and that's going to make them want to be part of you. That's going to make them go, hey, this isn't hard, and I'm going to throw the grinder away the first chance I get. It's
exactly.
Like, I'm going to do it again. Hey, my buddy's got these. Would you mind if I just played with it? Like, it now they want to do it compared to just get and be like, hey, this ain't worth it. You guys are just, I don't know, they must be magic. And
if you try a product for a week and you jump to another product for another week and another product for another week, you could do the same pattern on all 3 products and get different results. So if you're jumping all the time, like, you're hurting your business and hurting yourself, because you're going to burn yourself out eventually. You're going to be like, man, screw it. This isn't worth it. I haven't found anything that works. Well, you would have if you'd have spent another week with that product and figured out what its best uses were. You could have easily done that. But I had a guy come up to me at Atlanta, and he had asked me, Evan, why do you do this? I said, first off, the conversation I had with you guys, time mark, at least one person is going to message me when we put this out and go, thank you. I related to something you guys said. And as long as one person messages me after every video, I'm going to keep doing them, because I know that even though that mentality is there, that the big team isn't there, it is quietly, right? We talk about this with politics all the time. Everybody's so left and right. But in the end, we're all still a whole, right? And I feel like it's the same thing. It's the same thing in polishing right now. The left and the right are so far apart from each other. The teams are competing so hard that they want to be known and want to be seen, and they want to be the richest company, right? But in the grand scheme of things, polishing is an art, and we're all competing in this art together. And honestly, we're not even competing. Even if you're at the shows, you're not really competing, because metal polishing is one small category on a score sheet. And that small category on the score sheet, the people that look at it don't even know what they're looking at. They're not metal polishers that have looked at other metal polishing or have a grading scale on it. They look at it, they're like, ooh, shiny, done. No black residue, done. Clarity, good. Like, that's it. That's it on a score sheet. I can promise you. I've been a part of so many judge shows. I can tell you, I don't know a single metal polisher that's ever judged the metal polishing. They don't. It's truck builders and people that have seen shiny stuff before, but they don't see the things we see. They don't They don't see the excess hash on this. All they see is it clear finish? Is it shiny? Does it have compound left on it? Nope, nope, nope. Good. It's shiny. And some are a little shinier than others. The ones that are a little shinier get a better score, but the ones that are a little shinier could have more hash marks and still score well. It doesn't matter at the show world, but everybody's so wrapped up in that perfect mirror finish, not thinking like it's going to go to the local truck wash and get a brush on it first time it goes through, and it's going to put more scratches in it than those hash marks were. So it's like,
it's even smaller on that scoreboard because like that's just one category. Shows are one part. The business is your local. It's your everyday.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if I'm so worried about just the shows, like, and I'm not worried about what I actually have to do every day that's going to build the business and keep it going, then I'm getting lost in something that isn't going to help me out in the long run. It's only the smallest category of, hey, this guy might ask me to do a couple trucks in the show. But it's, if you build your own business and then you go to the show, well, now you have 40 trucks coming to your door because you built such a community at home that those guys want to stand up for you and go, hey, oh, you're going to be in that area? Here's the guy. He's going to be at that show. Have him take care of it. Go see him. And that's
spot on too, because I've said this 100 times. The show world is 5% of my business, at most 5% of my business. And the other 95% is, I shouldn't say 95%. I would say probably 70% of the rest of my customers, of that 95%, 70% have never been to a show. They don't care about the shows. They're farm trucks, they're local boys, they're fleet guys. They don't care about the shows. The other 25% know about the shows, but probably 20% of that 25% have never been to a show. They've been to go spectate, but they've never taken their truck. And the other 5% take their truck to shows, but don't compete with them. They just go and hang out. And you can't let that be the majority of your business, because talked about this with Steve, and I'll probably talk about it again. I'm going to have him on the podcast again sometime soon, because his business has evolved quite a bit over the years. We'll probably end up talking about that exact instance, that if you built your customer base just around show stuff, how many customers would you have to do a year to make money and be operational? Because Steve gets a lot of the same phone calls I get as polishers that call him and are like, man, I'm trying to do 200% on every job, but I can't charge 200%. These guys won't pay it, but I can't let this truck out my door, and now I'm broke. I got to go find a regular job again. And it's like, so you're missing out on something you love because you're putting too much in that you're not getting paid back. You didn't judge your market, and you're giving your market more than they're asking for at the wrong price. Like, you're pricing yourself out of your own market, and you're just giving it away, and now you're stuck. You know, you're literally just stuck. It's a tough spot to be in.
For us with the shows, it's a break out of shop. Like we don't go for make it moving about.
not there for money, and
we go like we see the environment is our home show. It's a great show. They put on a great event. Mark and Chris and John, but
see our boys.
we get all of our local clientele that gets either detailed, ceramic coated, polished, whatever it is, right at the home show. So it's cool to see that transition. And then we're going to Tennessee this year. We went a couple of years ago to Nashville. We're going to Smoky Mountain this year, but it's going to be a weekend with our crew in a cabin, and we're going to watch the trucks.
So let me ask you, and you guys don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but I'll give you my numbers first. So I know Atlantic Truck Meet is your close show. What other show have you been to that you had to go to, that you had to spend money to go to?
Nashville was the largest expense. It was a Music City show.
Okay. So Music City, what did you spend to go, and what did you make that you came home with? And I'll give you guys my numbers for Louisville, and this may shock you, but last year we spent $50,000 to be at Louisville, and we did 75,000 in sales between polishing and product. And by the time I paid my employees, it was the first year I came home with like $1,000 profit in my pocket.
So that
I was gone for 12 days. So I made $1,000 for 12 days. Had I stayed home and not done Louisville and not done any work, I could have stayed home and made $3,000 a day, and I've been gone. But
that was the furthest travel we had. It was myself and one other guy. I had two other guys working in the shop, but myself and my lead guy at that time, between travel, hotel, food, paying my guys, I think I came like $500. But it was the experience of Nashville that we went through. But we
how many days were you there?
4 days with travel.
So you were gone from your shop for 4 days,
Nope.
and you made $500.
$500. Yeah.
So I just want to, if you're listening to this right now, I don't care if it's podcast or YouTube or whatever, I want you guys to hear that. I last year spent $50,000 to be at Louisville and brought home 75, but after I paid the employees and everything else, it was $1,000, I think, is what I cleared for myself personally. So you guys last year went to Nashville, away from your shop for 4 days at a show. You made money and still only came home with $500. I want people to understand.
I don't know.
Yeah, and it looks great on social media. We're going to every show, promoting video, the whole nine yards, since the social media bubble that we've been talking about all night. But
Yep.
So in that marketing aspect, yeah, I mean, we might have picked up a couple new customers from Music City. Now we're getting an AC as well. So that does build, but
It's an investment, long-term investment.
nonetheless, if I were,
Tammy, if you're listening to this, I want you to listen to the boys right now. They're telling you the same thing I've been trying to explain to you for years. I know she understands it, but there's no real tangible number to put on that, right? Like
exactly.
when you're spending that money on Facebook or Instagram, they call it ROAS, return on ad spend, right? You can put a tangible number to that amount of money you spend on that show to tell yourself how much you've made back through purchases, right? But when you go to a show like this, you're investing in your own name, right? It's a marketing expense. If you came home with money, dude, you figured out something I haven't figured out yet. Like, I've done a lot of shows over the years, and coming home with $500, dude, that's a good weekend. Like, that's a great weekend, but you've made personal connections by being there and putting in the work at the show with that clientele that you are going to see at another show. And okay, so you did one work for, I'll just use some of my guys, for example, because I don't know who all the guys you guys are working with. I know Mark in passing. I've met him a few times. If I seen him again in person, I would know who he is, but I doubt he's going to remember who I was, right? So if I use Brad Linke, for example, I did work for him. By the time I got to the next show, he brought 3 or 4 of his buddies with him because he's like, Evan's the guy, right? Evan is there on time. He's always gotten me right. I need you to use Evan because you're hanging with me. I want you looking like me. I want you to be with the guy that's getting me right. Let's go. Craig, same thing. Like, he brought 6 of his buddies with him. You guys all need to use Evan. Like, Evan's the only guy I'll let touch my truck. Cool. So it's that marketing long term. And now, by having that reputation with those guys, I got local guys that were like, hey, I've been following Brad forever. Brad builds some cool stuff. If he trusts you with his stuff, I trust you with my stuff. And they didn't question it as much of like, I didn't need to sell myself on the quality. That word of mouth was worth enough for him, and social media is what created that word of mouth. So now I think you guys are doing great. The fact that you guys went to Nashville and even after your expenses came home with $500, that's a bomb weekend. Like, you done well because you know your next show is going to be that much better. And you guys don't have a huge brand that you're selling product for, and you're not, like I said, I went to your Instagram while we were talking here, and neither one of you guys has a big sponsor on your page that you're not promoting just a single product.
My wife is my biggest sponsor. I got to give her a shout out. You know?
Yeah.
You can buy it. She made it. You know?
Oh, that's awesome. I do see some shirts in the background, so you guys will be selling some apparel at some point.
It's more just things that he thought up that were just like, hey, this would look really cool on a shirt that I want to wear. Not good. It's, hey, it would be cool if everybody else wear it. Like, it's that little kid, you know, everything you wanted as a kid.
And that's the things you learn throughout business. So shirts, prime example. Do we make a lot of money on shirts? No, never. But
No.
by the time I give them to my family and friends and really good customers, it's always, we're losing money on a big apparel order. Branded this
If you look at it that way.
if you look at it that way. But just like the shows, we
In the marketing.
racetrack, and I see 5 guys, or the grocery store, our local truck show. We do 2 truck shows here at the shop every year, and now everybody's wearing Gravatt Garage gear.
Like you go to the grocery store and if it's something cool, they're gonna, hey, who's that? You know, what's this?
Yep.
Gravatt Garage.
I was just gonna say, when it's a cool logo, somebody's like, "What is that Gravatt Garage?" Like, and if you get 1 out of 10 that look at that shirt that are like, "I'm gonna go search and see what that is." Maybe it's an apparel company, maybe it's a detailing company, and they click one of it, and you get 1 out of every 10 that sees it. That brand marketing of seeing that logo and seeing that name, that stuff works. The whole reason I started my own apparel printing was because of that exact situation. Was I was ordering apparel, and I'd have a couple of buddies that were 5X and 6X. And as you guys know, you got to order 5 of each if you want to get decent pricing, you know? So I'd order 100 shirts, and at the end of the year, I'd have a bunch of extra smalls, 4X, 5X, and 6X left over. And it was like, all right, I'll take them to a show and give them away because I can't get rid of them at this point. So it was like, now that I'm giving them away, now I've ate up the profit that I made off of the other shirts. So now I broke even. And eventually I just started looking at it. I'm like, I just want to break even. What if I buy the machinery to make my own shirts in-house and I can print them to order? I don't need to print in bulk anymore. I can just print. Somebody calls me up. They're like, dude, I want an extra large of the Till Death Do Us Part 1. Cool. I can make that. I can make you 1 extra large.
The price now because you're not buying 30 Carhartts.
Exactly. It was saving myself in the long run. And we've had our t-shirt machine for 7-8 years now, and that thing paid itself off 10 times over. I mean, it was an expense, but now that we have our own apparel line now, and we have truckers that we deal with on a regular basis that we put out their graphics. But even just for my own stuff, when I go to a show, I'm still floored by how much Evans branded stuff sells. And I'm like, other polishers will come up and buy my stuff. I'm like, you're going to wear something with my logo on it? Like, that still tough for me to deal with. Like, I keep a marker on me because people have me sign stuff at shows, and I'm like, why? It makes it worth less. Like, you're going to wreck the shirt. Like, it makes no sense to me. But at the same time, who am I to judge what they think is worth something? You know, like, I'll sign whatever. As much as I hate it and it drives me up a wall, if it makes them happy, I'm cool.
It's authentic that way. And that's where a lot of people, like, again, you go to a grocery store now, like, your customer base is so small at a show because these guys are from everywhere. Like, you need to find locals. Like, that's where your business, and if you build your business off of having to travel at shows, well, it might be fun from 20 to 25, but when you're ready to settle down and, you know, you now can't go to all these shows and you're trying to build a family or something of that nature, now you don't have a business because you were so built on just traveling. Or
your state jacks your taxes up.
Yeah. But if you build that little community in your own community, and then, you know, if you have like a brand or a way or something of that nature, now you can push it. And it's because these people, you know, they're local. They know, hey, that's Ty from down the street. I just worked my hard-earned money, and like, I know what he's doing with it. I see his 2 kids. I see his wife. I meet them at the store every way. They go to karate together, or they go do ballet, or they go do, and it's like, now it's authentic. It's not.
I want to buy that shirt, so hopefully somebody else goes to them and gets the same service I got. And that's huge, because honestly, in the show world, when I stepped out of the big truck scene, I would say probably 90% of the people I did work for in the truck scene were so brand bought that I lost 90% of those customers, which was cool, because honestly, I didn't want to travel to a lot of the lifted truck shows, because that wasn't the market I was chasing. If you're detailing and doing ceramics, there's a ton of money to be made in that market. And if you're doing just the polishing and the detailing, there really wasn't a whole lot, because there was no loyalty in it. And that really bothered me. My lifted truck, it's leveled. It's not lifted. I should classify because somebody's going to hammer me on it. It's just leveled. But I was big friends with Carlos at Specialty Forge. Like when we would go to shows, Carlos would call me, Evan, you going to be there? I need all my stuff detailed. These are the guys I'm bringing in. These are the ones I need polished. I need my top guys taken care of. Send me the invoice. Cool. I got you. When I needed wheels, I called up Carlos. I said, I'm not looking for free. I just want you to take care of me so I'm not paying retail. He's like, cool, let's do it. So I went and did some polishing for him. We did some swapping. I paid the rest. I got a killer set of wheels. Him and Willie split right after that. Specialty Forge changed hands. It wasn't the same, but I was loyal to Carlos. Like Carlos and I still to this day will talk from time to time. Like, how's your family? How's my family? Like, we're still good, even though like he's almost completely out of the scene at all. He's still in wheels and stuff, but he's not in the lifted scene hardly at all anymore. It's more of the high end cars. But that market switched really quick. I just now ordered a new set of wheels that I'm hoping to have before Louisville. And even then I kind of felt like I was cheating on them a little bit, but it's because I have such a great relationship with a company that is buying product from me. I felt bad too because they're sponsored by another company, but they buy a lot of product from me, and I would rather give my money to somebody that's buying product from me and supporting me. And even though it's not on social media, I'm cool with that. But I dented one of my specialties out in PA last year when I was out by Woody. I hit a pothole that was big enough to bury my entire truck in. I'd never seen it. Middle of the night, dead tired, got in late. And I hit a pothole going to the hotel. Man, I got up the next morning. My tire was flat. I'm like, I know exactly what that's from. I got the Woodies. We put a Porta Power on it, bent it back, and I forgot about it till just a couple weeks ago. I kept putting air in my tire every day, and I'm like, why am I putting... Finally, I was here in my house where it's quieter, and I had the auto inflator on it, and I could hear it as soon as it would get above 39, it would piss the air out. I was like, oh, I bet that's that tire that's dented. And I looked at it and the tire was cut right where the dent was. And I was like, man, it made it a complete year before it went bad again. So I pulled the wheels off, got new tires, and I was going to throw those wheels back on, throw some fresh powder on them. And the wheel got straightened. I had it straightened. And I'm like, you know what? I need to support a company that supports me. So I called them up. I'm like, hey, I want to order a set of wheels. They're like, what do you want? He's like, man, that's the same style you have on. He's like, why don't you just keep running the ones you got? I'm like, because I'd rather support you guys. Like, it's time for me to make a change. I'm very loyal, so I'm going to stick with you guys for a long time. It's not like I'm going to switch back to somebody else tomorrow. We're going to switch gears and we're going to go through the show season. I'm going to promote you guys this year. They're like, dude, that's awesome. That's cool that you're going to give back to us when we're giving to you. I'm like, I'm glad you guys see that, but I'd rather give to somebody that's doing something. It's weird how that industry flip-flops, but I'm glad you guys found a lane over there. You guys are in with a really good group. It's Mark. What is Mark's last name? Dabrowski, that does Atlantic City Truck Meet.
Oh, well, Wickline.
What is it?
Wickline. Yeah.
Wickline. That's right. Wickline. He's got a really good core group over there.
Yeah.
He's got a great group of guys he deals with. You guys are in with those guys, you're doing just fine. I guess it's time to get into the tough one. What's the biggest thing you guys did that you got burnt on? And it can be something that you thought was going to be super easy and it ended up to be super difficult, or something you bid really low and ended up really costing you a lot of money and you didn't get to charge the customer for it because you didn't feel right doing it. It can be anything like that.
You already come about where? I'm personal. Yeah, fair enough. I don't even know all these doubt. But I had a dump body that I did. I think this is right at 2019. It was a buddy that I was friends with, dad. He used to move millings with it, and he just wanted it polished. He genuinely seemed like he
cared about it and that he would put his own time into it, but like he wanted to do the next step, bro. Came over to his house, explained to him, hey, the truck was down because it was right around COVID, and we came up with a date that it needed to be done by. I explained, this is my first time I've ever done one of these. I'm going to be figuring it out along with you. And it's just
First ones are the worst.
yeah. And it was just me, and I didn't have anybody else helping me out. So like it was all explained. Cool, no problem. Yada, yada, yada. Every day I was out there. He's sitting out there drinking beers, watching TV right next to me. All right, whatever. Kind of make you know how that can get under your skin. And then everything was cool. I explained to him, hey, I got Daytona coming up. This is a vacation that we already got planned. It ran in the middle of our schedule. I know that we need to get it done by this day. I'm going to be back. I'm not going to be here next weekend. Oh, no problem. Okay. I'm getting phone calls the whole time I'm in Daytona, getting cursed out, freaked out on. I'm putting all your shit in the middle of the road. Forget about it. You're screwing me every day that you're not here. My truck's off the road. And I'm like, yeah, we discussed this. Like, we had an agreement and what's going on here. And like, you're my buddy's dad. So I wasn't expecting this at all. And it got to the point where I had to go pick up the stuff from my buddy, well, ex-buddy, but had to go pick up the stuff from him at his work because I wasn't allowed back at the property.
Whoa.
That was my end of my Daytona trip. And then I had to take him to court to get paid. And it was during COVID, so it was over the computer. And I'm not saying that judges do it specifically this way, but like, you can't build a personality aspect from a computer screen. You can't. So you're trying to go through court in the time where they're just trying to pump people out because it's all on Zoom.
Yeah.
And everything basically got written off. And it's like,
yep.
Here I am and it was right in the beginning. So like I'm a young kid trying to do right, trying to make, figure things out. And then there's this nightmare where now I'm, 22 years old and I've figured out my first legal case of business. And it's like,
it's even harder when it's a friend, right? Like you thought you were helping somebody out and it just backfired. And then when you're on vacation on top of it, like talk about a downer.
Yeah, it wasn't the best experience, but it's, how you look at it. I learned a lot of things. I still learned a method on how to do these things, what not to do next time, get everything in writing. Maybe, like it's just the things that you learn from it and you grow on it, or you can look at it as a loss. And I lost time, sleep, you start second guessing yourself. Like, was I wrong? It's like, no, like you did the right things. This guy's just getting me. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned, but yeah, it was a nightmare from day one when I knew that he was going to be sitting there the whole time I was there, and it finished off with even worse of a nightmare, but
that's pretty brutal.
A tow truck prior to the Maryland tow truck show. This was before we were in this shop. This was at my old shop. They were leaving for a show like Friday, and they called on Monday. One of my previously really good customers, hey, can you fit us in? We just need a quick polish. Okay, no problem. Quick polish turned into polishing both sides of every drive, sanding mill lines, tanks, full detail, working through the night, and that inability to say no really bit me in the butt that time.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I did as much as I possibly could before so they can make their, departure date. Some things were not touched. Some things looked phenomenal. And at the end of the day, it was like 40 hours. It was grind and moving other customers to accommodate, and they still weren't happy. Just because some things couldn't be done. A quick touch up escalated very quickly because at that time I was hungry and thought I could handle it. Bit off more than I could chew. And for a long time I was just taking everything. And thankfully we still take a lot of work, but we also defer a lot of work now too. It's all part of that business learning curve. And as a group now, but what we're doing together, we've had the same experience recently on. We had a horse trailer and truck, and we had new guys, new methods,
everything trying to change all at once. And you have guys that, like you said, the second you walk away from them, everything kind of changes, or you start to learn as more of a CEO now or a boss that are like, hey, not everybody is you. You need to learn.
Correct.
And some people need this, some people need this. His experience, his skill set, his attention span, their age, their maturity, what they got going on. Do they let everything bother them? Do they walk in the door, drop it at the door? Do they come in with a whole bunch of baggage to that? You don't know. So we kind of learned that with this past job of Obey. And whatever we had going on, it turned into a 3-4 week project, and everything had to get gone over multiple times. And the whole thing got beat. It was, but we learned, hey, who we can trust with what, or how does this person retain information compared to that person? And it really put a check on myself on how we're going to scale them in the future. And in reality, like, if we learned it within the first 2 months, which we did, instead of learning it 3 years down the road, we save so much time. Let's just take everything that we can out of it, learn, and just go forward. You can't sit in there and worry about it and keep just getting miserable over it. You have to figure out, okay, it is what it is. Today's a new day. That was yesterday. How can I get the next horse trailer in here and I have a single one?
It absolutely sucks hitting every growing pain as we did this merger in one job, in the first job, from training 2 new polishers to the scheduling conflicts like we talked about earlier in the call with the details and ceramic moves. So trailers in and out of the shop to accommodate that. Changing our process to merge my process with Mark's process and family conflicts and so there. But now our process, our data collection, and back to those SOPs, like basically that determined the minute we, Mark and I sat down, tried to develop a path of where we're going. And if we do this together, how we're going to do it. And that I had some SOPs, but now we collect data on every job. Knowledge transfer, SOPs for not just, how to polish a wheel, but I have SOPs for customer closure and communication with customers on what they're getting in the different price structures.
Shop close.
Yeah.
Simple. Like,
so systemizing all that within the first 2 months, in 2 more months, I hope it's just going to be running that much more smooth.
Bob Ross calls those happy accidents. You had a lot of happy accidents in 2 months, but I can tell you, I did the same thing probably 20 years ago. I kept track of how much rouge I used on every nice wheel and every rough wheel, and how many buffs I burnt through on a rough truck versus how many buffs I'd blow through on nice trucks. And I can tell you, it put me in a 10,000 time better position now, being at it 20 years later, where I'm at now compared to where I was then. Like, I watch guys that'll ask me, like, how do I make more money in the polishing business? And I'm like, well, what are you spending on materials? And they're like, I don't know. I look at my receipts. I'm like, no, how much do you spend on that last truck you just did? Well, I don't know. I just grabbed a buff and a bar, and I don't know how many bars I used. I don't know how many buffs I used. I was like, okay, so what did you expense on that truck? Like, what did you mark in your calendar that you spent to make that money? Like, how much profit did you make? I don't make any profit. How do you not know if you do or don't make any profit? Like, that doesn't make any, I can't wrap my head around that. And then when people start thinking about it, they're like, I spent $50 on that truck and I only charged $600. Well, how much did you pay out in labor? Well, I paid out $400 in labor. Okay, well, you paid out $400. You spent $50, so you made $150. So your employees made more money on that truck than you made. Wrap your head around that. It wasn't that you were just a boss standing there watching that happen. You were working alongside your employees, and you paid your employees more than you paid yourself. You need a better structure. Well, I have to pay my guys X amount of money because if I don't pay them $40 an hour, they won't stick around. Well, that's cool, but you're paying your employees $40 an hour and you're working for $7.75 an hour. Go work at freaking McDonald's and make $15 an hour and quit with the hassle of working for yourself. Like, why are you killing yourself when you can make more money going to McDonald's?
Especially if you have no vision. to work towards. And like, that's something else that we're doing. Like, it's a merge. So you're taking these losses, and it's like, you're the last one to get paid at the end of the day. And if you're worried about getting paid and that's your only source of income, you're never going to grow the business. So you're going to end up at a 9 to 5 anyway. So you have to understand, like, every second counts. You have to be very strategic on what you're doing and when you're doing it and how long you're doing it. And if you need to go get another job or you need to go get some side work, you have to go, like, you have to put whatever it takes. You can't expect everything to just fall on your lap and happen and make $1 million every job if you never took the time to figure out how to do it. It's not just going to happen. You have to put the time, you got to put the effort in, the research, and track everything.
That's a really great piece of advice. I hope a lot of people that are listening to this have listened this long into the video, because that is a killer piece of advice. And I may actually clip that into its own little segment for a teaser video, just so that everybody has to hear that. I'll put it into a short or something, because that is a great piece of advice that I think not a lot of people think about. I've said it with JJ. People hit me up all the time, like, when's the best time to start your business? Not going into winter. Not going into winter. You're not going to build a business going into winter. You need to start first thing in spring. Get out and start marketing yourself with your local tire shops, your local trucking companies, whatever market you want to get into first thing in spring. Because if you can get a run from spring to fall, you may be slow the first couple of winters, but if you can get a few customers and you've saved enough money to hold yourself over for the winter, and even if you get a winter job, go work at a ski hill, go work as a snowplow or whatever, to get yourself through those first couple winters and keep building your business, eventually you'll get yourself busy. Eventually you'll get there. And I heard you say it earlier that your 11th year is a year. I never thought of that. Did you read that somewhere? Did you hear that somewhere? Where'd that come from?
I'm actually a huge fan of this guy named Andy Frisella. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Yeah.
But he's, somebody, and I was always the type of person where, I struggled, and I was like, hey, it's this, or I'd be lazy, or and he's very, very heavy on personal development, and it starts with you, and it starts there. And he's an entrepreneur that's built the biggest one of the biggest, middle stage companies in the world. And
100% he did.
He just spits knowledge, and he'll let you know, hey, I've been through it. I own this store. I made $636 or whatever it was at the end of the month. And that's what we had to survive off of. And you're not going to live off of that, clearly. Like, what nobody's asking is, well, what else did you do? Nobody would know, like, hey, he was eating curbs and he was doing lines in parking lots and things of that nature, so he could eat and sleep, and he slept in his store for years on.
Listen, you got to clarify, he was painting lines in parking lots. You guys are in Jersey. Lines in parking lots are completely different in Jersey than they are everywhere else.
But it's from him. I honestly have to give all of my credit of where my mental state is and looking at things. And between my parents and him, they've just been the biggest role models of, like, hey, he's very raw. And that's where I get my honesty from. Is, one, my parents are very raw and they're very unforgiving. They're unapologetically themselves, and they're happy. He is real. He doesn't have to be doing any of the things that he is doing, and it's got to be frustrating, but he's doing it for a reason. Listen to it, and he's just authentic about it. So, like, you look at,
I listen to a lot of his stuff too, and I'd never heard that 11-year thing. Like, that hit me like a ton of bricks as soon as you said it. I was like, man, my 11th year is when shit really cracked off. Like, that's really when it broke loose for me, where I was like, man, I feel like I've hit a stride at this point. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was in a marathon the whole time. And that 11th year is kind of when I caught my big break. It's the first guy that came to me and was like, hey, I'm going to go to a show and I want to say that you're the guy that did it. Like, cool. And then all of a sudden it like blew up that 11th year. That 11th year was like the rocket ship took off, But I've listened to a lot of Frizella's stuff, and I've never heard him say that. So hearing you say that, I'm going to have to go back and listen to some of his older stuff. Maybe it's in one of his older videos and I just missed it. But That's huge, because I've noticed like even a lot of new polishers and a lot of new detailers, it's 5, 6 years in, there's a lot of guys still heavy grinding 5, 6 years in that are trying to still build that customer base. And JJ is one of those exceptions. He's an animal. Like he built his stuff in 10, solid 10. But I've met a few other guys that built their stuff in less, but I bet you're right. That 11th year is really where stuff really breaks off, because you're really well established and trusted 11 years in. Like
You're tired, and you're kind of ask yourself at that point, like, what am I doing? Like, I don't know if it's we just evaluate things in certain numbers, but like you think of your life frame in every 10 decade chunks, and it's like, okay, well, I'm either happy with where I'm at, or what am I doing? You hit 30 years old and it's like, all right, I got a family. What am I wasting my time? Am I actually like time to nut up and shut up, or am I just running in place? And where is my vision down the road? And that's why you've seen so many people, especially COVID years, like 1-2 years gone, 1-2 years gone, 1-2 years gone, because they didn't stick with it when it got hard, and they also didn't build that authentic customer base. They were too worried about running with this company for so many years, drop this company for so many years, drop this, and chasing things that weren't about themselves and their own business or their own company. It kind of just works its way out. But if you stick there for that 10th year, you're like, okay, I've done it for this long. We're getting close. Yeah, we're gonna hammer down, and what's the worst? Fails and you go back to living a 9 to 5. So be it. Like that's your worst. Backup plan is everybody's main plan. Is that really a bad life to be living? No, you chase it.
I don't want to. I don't want to by any stretch of the term, but if I had to, there's so many great paying factory jobs here in town. I could go get a factory job tomorrow and probably be a manager in a few months. Like, you could use the skills you've learned to move up the ladder pretty quick, but do I want to? No. Because honestly, I legitimately quit my regular job in 2005. The market died in 2009. Trucking was tanked. I went and worked at a movie store to keep the bills paid with my wife. And fast forward 2 years later, all of a sudden it was huge. I mean, we were swimming. I was working 20 hours a day, sleeping 2-3 hours, taking naps, and going back to work because there was just that much work laying around. And I didn't say no to anything. I ate every little bit of piece I could get. If there was money laying on a table somewhere, I was hungry. I was eating it. And I don't think I said no to hardly anything back then. And I'm making up for it now. I say no to a lot of stuff now, because that hard no, the no that you don't want to say no to, is the one that hurts you every time. And that easy yes, the easiest yes that you're like, man, I don't really have time for it, but yeah, I'll get it done, is the one that comes back to bite you every single time. So I preach hard no and easy yes are your worst enemies, because you don't want to say that hard no when you know you shouldn't. And you always want to say yes because it's the easiest answer to not be confrontational. But you have to stop saying yes to some things, because 1, your mental well-being, and 2, your business well-being, because an easy yes can sink your business. Saying yes to your buddy polishing his dump bed when you're in over your head and they're going to ruin your vacation, like, that hurts. And not just emotionally, but having to take the guy to court. If you didn't have the money to go to court, you'd have just spent out that money, and it could have put you upside down on some credit cards or something else that stumbled down the road, right? And having the ability to pull a trailer in and out so that you can get it done and still be able to get your details and your ceramics done, like, that's a tough spot to be in, and not all companies can financially survive that. You guys sound like you're in a financial position where you can, and you made it work, and you got through those happy accidents for 2 months and learned a lot about how your business was going to be in the future. But a lesser business for somebody that hadn't planned for a rainy day, or somebody that wasn't prepared to take a loss like that and didn't have something else to fall back on, could have crippled them and put them out of business. So the fact that you guys have things in place to get through that is pretty cool because honestly, you guys are pretty early on in your careers yet. And the fact that you guys know that early, I'm excited to watch you guys move on from where you are now because you guys are only going up. You guys aren't going down.
Wherever we take it. Yeah.
Yep. And partnerships are hard. A lot of guys are like, man, don't ever do a partnership because you'll end up not being friends. And that's not true. I have plenty of partnerships that I've been friends with people that we have partnerships that we've worked together for a lot of years. And it's always the effort you put in and the effort and the standard you guys allow yourself to be at that makes it work. If you expect something and you haven't expressed that to the other person and the other person thinks your expectation is something else, that's what ruins partnerships. And I think you guys are going to do great. Like I said, I've been following you guys for a long time. I didn't realize, Ty, that I wasn't even following your page today. Like I've looked at your stuff on a number of times and I didn't realize like I didn't have you followed. So I must have been just searching you every time because I haven't followed you since we met through Wipe and Shine. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah. And then the detail rag.
Yeah, Detail Rag. That's what it was. His company's Wipe and Shine, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was the first time I had actually met you.
So that was with one of my prior companies. I had started to develop Shine Freak Apparel. And
that's right.
Thing with Wipe and Shine and the Detail Rag was the Shine Freak Apparel company that I eventually sold that company in Gravatt Garage. So that's a whole nother podcast. But that was before I was kind of in this weird path between the apparel business and then Gravatt Garage. Gravatt Garage took off, sold that NC and Victory.
Yeah, and
it all started too. Like I had a booth for AC Truck Meet. I realized I didn't got it for the wrong reasons. It's then 2019, maybe 2020. It was the first year, and I reached out to Ty. He'd be somebody that one of my buddies. We've done plenty of work together, and I was like, "Hey, like you've got a brick and mortar. You can utilize this." Like there was no more spots open, and it kind of was like, "Hey, like, just have it. Take care of it. Enjoy it. Let me bring my truck out and like hang out for the day, and we're cool." And that's kind of where you gain a lot of traction. I mean, to see him grow and just to sit on the sideline and cheer for him was like the best feeling. Like, holy crap. Like, and to know, like, to have like, we didn't even realize this till recently was like to have that hand in it that I didn't even know about after all these years. And then like, here we are reconnecting and there was all these phone calls of just, "Hey, I'm wiped out. I want to get rid of this. You got it." And I'd be there. "Hey, dude, whatever you need, I'll be over at the shop tomorrow. Line it up. Let's get through it. Let's get through the month. Let's get through the week. Let's get through the."
I was going to say,
yeah.
Fast forward to that original situation. I mean, look at where you guys are. You guys are headed somewhere together instead of two separate entities that just kind of were buddies before.
We don't care about the industry. We don't care about ourselves. We don't care about selling somebody junk. We don't care about.
It's always
care about the industry.
Bigger than
us.
And
we don't want to leave it better than we found it.
Like I mentioned, we do 2 truck shows here at the shop. It's like a cruise night style truck show twice a year on a Tuesday night.
Come into it.
It's totally free. We get almost 400 trucks.
No kidding.
Parking lot in the bar across the street. So
no way.
Last one was like 350.
Dang.
That's just what was there at one point. Everybody's coming to go.
But that's our give back to the community. Hey,
and it's at the restaurant across the streets. And now there's 400 people flooding their doors.
So
hell yeah.
We do a DJ. We have, a media guy come in, just take pictures of the trucks with it. But that's like our give back. Cause I grew up with hot rods with my dad and the whole 9 yards. Like, this is what I like. This is what I enjoy.
And now we can, this year, I'd like, with me coming aboard, like, I've always thought about it like the little kids. Like now we can, like start talking, let's try to do things for kids. And that's where like you can do the fake. Was the face tank going here? The pumpkin painting.
Don't do face painting. Don't do painting. Painting ends up on vehicles. Paint ends up on vehicles. I promise you. Trust me, truck shows, car shows, anything. face painting or pumpkin painting, it ends up on vehicles.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That's when you leave on the business card on the way out. You go, hey, that's
I see where you're at. Job security. I like it.
I'm a truck guy. I grew up with old trucks, new trucks, the whole nine yards. Yeah, I got way too many now. My daughter,
dad was a car guy.
yeah, my daughter, she's 3. She thinks that the 87 square body is hers. Like she wants to paint a pig.
That's awesome.
It's cool little things that I geek out over. And
And you don't want to die. And if nobody's going to do it, then like you do it. Why not? If everybody else doesn't care about that part and you do, then just do it. If there's something that you genuinely want to see, make it happen.
What a great way to give back to your community too. I mean, all those excess vehicles coming through town, they're stopping at the local restaurants, they're stopping at the local bars, they're stopping at the gas stations, they're getting fuel. Somebody's renting a hotel room, like all that good stuff coming through your community. Not much beats that, man. I donate back to my community too. We have a charity golf tournament every year. I don't know if you guys have seen that on my YouTube channel, where we just get a bunch of hackers and slashers together. Like, honestly, I feel bad for the golf course because they're replacing more divots after the weekend when we're out there. But seriously, we donate 100% of that back to veterans in our own community. And we've gotten our own community completely caught back up. Like, we have no veterans in our community right now that actually need money that can't have access to it. And honestly, that was the greatest feeling, knowing that I have more than I need. Like, to be able to get my friends to help donate to clean up my own community was awesome. We're in a tiny little town. We're 4,000 people. We have so much industrial in town. Our population doubles during the day, during the week, because so many people, there's not enough houses in town to support the work base that's here in town. So we double our population during the day. A lot of the big companies here do give back in one way, shape, or form. But like with our business, we give back to the local baseball diamond because I care about the baseball program. I think baseball is great for little boys and girls. You learn a lot of great things playing baseball. We donate to the basketball program. I love basketball. I still coach. I referee on the weekends. Like, I truly love it. Plus, we donate money to the scoreboard because I want our kids to have better. And I know what being in basketball does, is that being that gritty team sport, you have to work together. You learn so many life lessons through that I don't want to see our program ever hurt for that. We've donated some to wrestling and stuff too, but I focus more on the bigger team sports that you have to work together to get through. And mostly because I did those when I was younger and I enjoyed them. But the military is something that's personal to me. I don't have any military in my family other than my grandfather, and he was a photographer in Vietnam. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I feel like are luxuries for us that we need to give back. And it's cool to see that, especially when it's in your own community. So the fact that other companies like yourself are doing that around your local area too, just speaks volumes for a company. Like, it comes back in good karma, I'm a very firm believer in karma. What you put out is what you get back. And it seems like you guys are putting out a lot of good. So it'd be cool to see that stuff come back to you, because I know it will. It has to.
We should.
All right.
Going forward, if anybody is seeing this, you are local to like New Jersey, especially like veterans and stuff, and like, if there's anything that we can do, or like anything we can get involved with, or any way to give back, just reach out. And Gravatt Garage on Instagram, Facebook, and shop number 609-752-7874. But just reach out.
That's awesome.
That's the biggest thing, is just leading the hand to people that need it. If it's a clean car that can just make your day turn around, then cool, then it's up. Like,
yeah.
If you just want to hang out at the shop and learn something new, we can work it out. Like, if it gets you where you need to be, especially with like all the mental health and everything that's going on nowadays. Like, my grandfather committed suicide. So that's something that's close to me, is being that hand for people that need it. And like, I never had a group growing up. I was the black sheep of my family, of my school, everywhere. So it's like, being able to give back now in any way, shape, or form. I know it's just shiny metal and clean cars or something as simple, but It might just
It's
be
more than that.
a couple hours of somebody that's just having a really shitty time that just needs somebody to sit there with them and make them feel like they're human, you know. And
Yep,
other
that's
than
all
the
it takes.
business, we try to be good people. And if you can do that for somebody else, man, just be that hand. Put yourself aside. Speak out to other people if you have something going on, and just be there for each other. Like we need it right now, especially in the country. Like it's
Oh yeah,
Americans being people for each other. Don't worry about what you're going to get out of it. Karma's a thing. Comes around.
yep. Without a doubt, I 100% believe karma is 100% real. And I can tell you, when I was a little dickhead running around talking shit about everybody, life was hard. It was way harder than it is now. Now I sit back and let people talk shit about me because I don't care. Like I'm in my lane doing me. Like I'm not leaving my lane to come swerve at you because honestly, I ain't got time for it. Like,
Happy that you can do that for the guy that can't. The guy that can't.
right.
The comments, and like somebody chose you, whether you're religious or whatever, but God chose you to take that beating for somebody that it might set all over the edge. You know, like there's a reason for everything.
And there's somebody else sitting there wishing that they were in your position. You know, they are in a far worse position, dreaming about the spot that you are currently sitting in. And I don't take that for granted anymore. I used to look at it like, man, I need more. I look at guys like Gary Vee. I look at guys like Bezos and Elon Musk, and I'm like, man, they're living. And honestly, are they? Like, they've got all the money in the world and they still got the same headaches we got. You know, they're, I'm sure, a lot easier to deal with because you got enough people and you got enough money to just buy your way out of some of that. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to be the president right now. He's got a million nightmares and he's got it way better than I've got it. So I don't know. I couldn't imagine looking back on it anymore, thinking that I don't have it good enough because it's asinine.
Stay humble and remember where you came from. That's the biggest thing.
That's right.
It all came out the same way. We're all going to get there the same way. No one's better than each other. You did more work than the next guy, and that's how you got to where you are. That's all it is.
Yep. Well, I've really dragged this out with you guys. I feel bad, but there's honestly been some really good information. There's a lot of really good nuggets that are in here that I know guys are going to listen to, and guys are going to pull a lot of really good information out of this. But we've gotten pretty far along here. I'm going to give you guys the hot seat. I'm going to let you ask me a question. It's something that it can be anything. We've talked about this before the show. But you can hit me with anything as long as it's not company related or something that's going to physically hurt somebody. I'll answer just about anything, but I'm going to open up the floor to you guys.
We are in the process of training a couple new polishers. As someone who hosts several, almost 300 memberships for over 200 polishers in your in-house training, at what point do you think it's time to, I don't want to say cut the cord, but maybe this person's not fit to be a professional in this position? Is there a fine line? Is there a defining point where it can continue to invest in that training? Or, hey, maybe stick to the detailing and we'll move somebody else into this training. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In my own shop, it's funny. The way I train people to work for me versus the way I train people that are starting their own businesses are two completely different ways I train. Like, if you work in my shop, I baby you for 6 months, like a solid 6 months. Like, Levi, I'll tell you, if you come to work for me, you're not touching a grinder for the first month at all. Like, you're going to be a hand polisher for the first month at least. And if you're not comfortable after watching us run the grinder, you're going to stay a hand polisher for 3 to 6 months. And then after that, you're only going to be polishing fuel tanks, boxes, and grills. I don't let you shove in a drive wheel until I know you're comfortable or you've watched me enough. And Levi's the one exception. Like, I literally went on a vacation with my family and I was like, sorry, buddy, if you want to work while I'm gone, all I have is a bunch of trailer wheels. I don't have anything else laying around right now. So I sent him to a fleet to go do some trailer wheels. But other than that, he's the one exception to the rule. But in my personal training program, our beginner class is 3 days. And there's been, out of those 300, I would say there was probably 6 that by noon on the first day, I was like, I'm going to refund you the rest of your money because you're not going to be able to do this. Like, this isn't going to work for you. I can tell you already that this just isn't going to work. I had one guy that stuck around all 3 days. He couldn't get off the variable and he couldn't get past the fuel tank. The dude was ready to retire. He was 65. He wanted to come and do the training program because he wanted to start a polishing business. I'm like, why would you want to start a polishing business at 65? But who am I to judge? Like, if that's the way you want to live your retirement, cool. But the first day, he held the grinder. He struggled putting pressure on. I couldn't get him to put enough pressure on to keep his line tight enough. And I was like, all right, go home, go to the hotel, rest for the night. Let's try it again tomorrow and see if we can build up enough muscle to push. And second day, we got all the way through and he couldn't get enough pressure on. And I'm like, damn, I feel really bad. We got to the third day of the beginner course, and usually I'm doing, I start first day with tanks, pressure and technique, and we sand on it. Second day, we switch to wheels. Third day, we do grills and air cleaners. And this guy was only really going to do fuel tanks and boxes because most of the trucks he worked on had Durabright, so he wasn't worried about it. But he's like, I do want to learn some wheels. I'm like, I cannot put you on a wheel. You are physically going to hurt yourself, and I do not want to sit here and watch it, and I refuse to let it happen in my shop. And finally, the third day, I'm like, listen, I will refund you all 3 days. Like, I feel terrible. Like, I can't get you where you want to be, and it's because you don't have enough muscle to make that happen. And I feel really bad. I'll take the loss. I'll refund it. And the guy was super cool. He's like, no, listen, I can't let you refund me off of something I can't do. So I was like, man, I really appreciate that. But seriously, I'll refund it because I feel bad. And another scenario I had, dude, this guy was huge, like ripped huge. Like, this guy had to have been a super muscle builder. Like, this guy was just ripped. He was 5 times my size. Shoulders were 3 times as wide. Like, this dude was a brick house. And we made it through day 1. He killed it. Like, everything he did was perfect. We got to day 2 halfway through. We got about lunch. I take everybody to lunch as part of the program. We got a nice little deli in town. And I took him to the deli that day. And on the drive back, he goes, I don't want to polish anymore today. I was like, are you really sore? He goes, yeah, I'm terribly sore. I was like, really? He goes, and honestly, I'm just going to donate tomorrow. I'm not going to come in tomorrow either. And I was like, really? I'm like, why? Like, you're doing great. He goes, this isn't for me. He's like, this is brutal. I'm like, dude, you're the strongest guy that's ever come through my training program, like, by a long shot. And it's not for you? He goes, no. He goes, I've never lifted this much weight before. I'm like, dude, you're like 10 times my size and muscle builder. Like, look like Schwarzenegger. This guy was huge. And he goes, yeah, I don't lift more than 20 pounds at a time. He goes, I'm just 2,000 reps a day of 20 pounds. I was like, dang, I didn't even think about that. But the grinder was heavier than what he normally lifted. And using all that constant pressure was just too much for him. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. I also had another group that was doing really well their first day. And they asked me where the closest local bar was. And I told them where our local bar is named Cheers, oddly enough. And the next morning was like, we usually start at 8. It was like 9 and they weren't there yet. I'm like, I'll give it till 10. Maybe they went out and tied one on last night. 10 o'clock, I called them. I'm like, hey, you guys coming in? And they're like, yeah, we'll be in there about noon. I was like, we're only training till like 2 or 3 today. So like, they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. We're good. I was like, all right. And they came in, they're like, yeah, we got the drinking last night. We don't want to get dirty like this every day. And I was like, dang, they were doing really good too. So it kind of like threw me off guard a little bit. But I think I've been training for, I don't know, maybe 13, 14 years now. in those 14 years that I've been training, 15 years, maybe it's 15 this year. I'm a pretty good guess at which guys are going to make it and which ones aren't. And usually by day 1, day 2 of heavy pushing on training, I can usually tell if they're going to make it. In my shop, if they're not going to make it, I just keep them a hand polisher. Like, you can just stay a hand polisher. We need full-time chasers anyways. So the next guy that comes in, I'll just push him to a grinder a little faster and just, keep increasing your pay, even though you're just a chaser and a prepper. I can usually tell pretty within the first month if they're going to make it or not. But if I was building people to run a grinder in my shop every day, I'd be able to tell in the first week if they're going to make it or not.
Helps a lot. I think we already know our answer on one team member, I guess we could say. But that structure makes a lot of sense. I mean, we all start somewhere, whether it was hand polishing or grabbing a kit and trying to learn ropes.
But I do put ambition into that factor, right? Like, even if you don't get it in that first month or that first week, but you're like willing to listen to me and soak stuff in and adjust what you're doing day to day, I'll keep pushing you another week. And if you get it in that next week, cool, we're good. Right. But if I tell you something and you're like, yeah, I heard you, but don't apply it and don't start using it, I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep pushing you, because if I'm wasting my breath, it's taking away from my time. And I've said this in every podcast. I have never found anybody that's willing to sell me time, and time is my most valuable resource. So if I have to keep reinvesting the same time into somebody that isn't utilizing my time, it's killing my time, and killing my time is the most valuable resource I have. So I have to keep moving on to the next one. So either I find it, if you're useful in a different location, I will move you to a different spot. And if you're not, I have to let you go. And honestly, I don't let too many people go, because I create ways for people to stay useful. But yeah, if I had a detail shop, I would move somebody to a detail quicker than I would in the polishing, because detailing, you can put them on a vacuum or something, like
Venturing's a lot though.
Something remedial. Yep.
How have you found the best way to juggle being a father and like a present husband while dealing with the scaling and the growth over all the years and the hard times, the tough conversations you don't want to have, the promises and the weight that you feel on yourself when like you're not in the grain all the time in life? Just what lessons are a little bit of like, little bits that you can kind of just, put any words on of like, how did you do it? What are these things you did that you wouldn't have done that again, or you learned, or, how do you keep it together? Like, be present. And especially in today's like world, like, it's not easy. The economy's crazy right now.
Yeah. I can tell you, for the longest time, I didn't juggle those. It's something I'll end up talking about with my wife in that podcast, but I'll touch on it pretty close here. I didn't, to just be brutally honest with you, I didn't juggle family and away. I fully invested myself and sacrificed and risked literally everything for my business. I like I said, I like making money. I love what I do for a living. Like, I tell everybody all the time and nobody believes me, but if I hit the lottery tomorrow, I will still polish. Like, will I do it every day? 10 trucks a day, 3 trucks a day? Absolutely not. Will I still do a couple trucks a week? Yes. And Levi will tell you, like, when I'm gone for a week, like my wife and I think we just had our 20-year wedding anniversary. We took a week in Grand Cayman. When I came home, I was so ready to polish. First thing I did when I got home was I went to the shop just to smell the shop. Like, I missed the smell. That's how much I love what I do. I haven't punched in to a job since technically 2009, but I quit my full-time job in '05, and had the bottom not fallen out in '09, I wouldn't have punched a clock since '05. But I love what I do, and I truly do not look at it as like punching a clock. We took a trip to Hawaii. I took my parents to Hawaii for their 50th wedding anniversary, and I found a polisher there and polished in Hawaii when I was there. That's how much I love it. I find people to polish with when I'm on vacation because I truly love it that much, and I miss it while I'm gone. Um, when my wife and I first got married, I asked her to give me 5 years before we started having kids because I wanted to establish my business before we started having kids. I wanted to have some financial security before we started having kids. It was the stupidest thing I ever thought because you're never financially secure as a business. One thing that it was the hardest thing for me to learn is no matter how much money you bring in, you spend just as much. I think we have like $1 million in credit cards that we can access every month. And there's some months where $750,000 in debt. There's months where we're $1 million ahead. Like it bounces back and forth with all the inventory and stuff that we have now. But when we first got married, I quit my job in '05. We got married in '05. We bought our house in '05. So I think we bought our house first because we wouldn't have been able to buy the house had I quit the job. I needed the job to secure the loan for our house. So we bought the house in, I want to say January or February. We got married in August, and I had quit my full-time job in June. So with all that, I had told the wife, give me 5 years. 5 years of just hunkered down, working 20 hours a day. We'll have babies. We'll figure it out after that. So we did. We waited 5 years. We had our first daughter, Lexi. And I would get up super early in the morning, work as much as in the morning as I could. My wife worked second shift at the nursing home. She was a CNA. So she'd go in and work in the afternoon. I would take care of my daughter in the afternoon. And then at night, I would go out and run my wheel machine at night. So when the wife would get home, I would go out to the shop, fire up my wheel machine, and polish as many concrete covered wheels as I could get done at night because I wanted to keep that money flowing in, right? I'd sleep a few hours every night, and I'd get up early again the next morning and do the same thing. Well, then when we had our second child, Lacey, 3 years later, 3 years later, is it '05? Hold on. I got a tattooed on my arm. 2010, 2013. So 3 years apart, 3.5 years. When we had our second one, my wife was still working her job. And that was at the point in my business where I was getting like super busy, and I was thinking about going to a lot more shows to try and scale my business even more. And we started running into, all right, I was running late. Can you find somebody to watch the kids for a little bit? I'm going to be 2 hours late. And she's like, yep, no problem. Mom, my friends, babysitter, whatever. And it got to be like, I don't know, 6 months in maybe. I went to go pick up the kids from a friend, and both the friends were high as a kite. And I freaked out. Like, I just come unglued. I screamed, I yelled, I grabbed the kids, I went home, I called my wife, I said, put in your 2-week notice. Like, you're done. Like, her job was cutting her hours back all the time. The money coming in wasn't worth what we were paying the babysitter anyways. And I said, if I could work 20 hours a day, I could cover your paycheck 3 times over by just putting in 2 extra hours. And if I put in 20 hours a day, we'll be making triple your paycheck every day, let alone a week's worth of money. And I was working 7 days a week back then. So I said, I need you to quit your job because I do not want to be worried about one of our kids getting hurt at a babysitter because they're high and don't want to take one of our kids to the hospital because something happened. And she said, are you sure? I said, absolutely, I'm sure. I will sacrifice my own personal time so that you can stay home and raise the kids. And she did. She put in her 2-week notice, and I don't think she knew how much I was dedicated to that statement. But I skipped every birthday. I skipped every holiday. I worked Christmases. I worked New Year's. I worked, you name it. I worked it because I wanted to set ourselves up for a better future. And eventually I look back at it now, and go back to my dad. My dad punched in, punched out every day, and he was just happy with it. He asks me all the time, when is enough enough? Why don't you cut back now and enjoy what you have, because you have enough? And I'm like, you're right. I do have enough. But I still look back at it like, would I still sacrifice all those same things? And I want to tell myself no, that I wouldn't do that, because I would like to be there for more of those things. I would like to have been there for more of those first steps and all the extra diapers with the second child, and the trips to the water park for their birthday or whatever. But at the same time, the fact that they've built relationships with their friends that they've got to spend time with my wife and that stuff, I'm not saying I wouldn't have enjoyed those times, but they got more personal times. And they've never said I was a bad dad. Maybe they think that at times, but I've never heard them say that. But at the same time, like, as much as I want to say no, I wouldn't make those same sacrifices again if it came time. I'd be lying to myself if I did. I would still sacrifice the same amount of things to get to where I'm at right now and be able to set my kids up for an even better future than what I had. Like I said, my parents gave me everything I ever needed. Not everything I wanted, but that was for my own good, right? It was a lot of things that I didn't need. But now I've set my kids up for an even better future. My oldest, she wants to start her own business at some point in time. I'm going to be able to financially help her do that. My youngest, she loves the social media stuff. I'm praying. Last year, she came in and videoed in my shop for the summer, and I'm praying that she wants to do that again this summer. That she'll want to come up in video, because she can catch videos that I wouldn't get while I'm working, and I can chop it up and edit it up when I get home and upload it to YouTube or wherever and keep my content growing. And I'm hoping to help build her with whatever she wants to do in her life. My wife, she works in the office now. She does all of our accounting and payroll and makes sure the bills are paid every week. And she also prints all of our apparel. She's not right now doing all the Louisville stuff, getting all of our customers' shirts done for Louisville, plus our own shirts done that we're going to sell at Louisville. So as far as keeping the family together, when I take personal time, I'd be on my phone all the time. And more recently, I've learned to cut back on that and make our personal time. Like, not answer that phone call all the time, let it go to voicemail, and I'll answer it tomorrow. When the kids say they want to go with me on a motorcycle ride on a nice warm day when I'm just chilling here, hop on and go with them. Don't question it, just go. It's the little things like that. Start to enjoy the things. My oldest, she and I were really close. We still are really close, but we were super close because those first 3 years between the first and the second one, in the afternoon when mom worked, I had a golf membership in town, and she loved riding on the golf cart. So her and I would go golfing 5 days a week. So her and I spent a ton of time in her first 3 years together. So her and I relate on a different level. Whereas Lacey, my second one, COVID really ruined her. Like, she's a very social child, and COVID, having her stuck home, was brutal for her. And me, the truck shows shut off. Like, we had just launched our product line and the truck shows shut off. So I was stuck at home. We polished, but during those first 6 months of COVID, we were getting threatened to be shut down on a daily basis by a state trooper because we were non-essential workers, right? Like, it was brutal. I lost a lot of customers that year. We could have easily gone boots up too. Like, we could have, my business could have fell apart completely. I don't want to say the bailout money saved us, but honestly, it helped us quite a bit. We could have been in a really deep financial spot had that year continued to go the way it did, because I invested a ton of money into our own product line and our own inventory. But being home for those 2 years during COVID, when everything was kind of weird, my little one Lacey got used to me being home. So now when I go on the road, she's like, "Oh, Dad, do you have to go? Like, I wish you could stay home." I'm like, "I wish I could too. I wish I could take you with me to every show." But this last year, they're starting to get old enough now. Last year, we took them along to the Mayberry truck show. So they got to go and see that. They saw a lot of cool things while we were out there. I took them along to the Atlanta National Championship Truck Show. My oldest thought that was the coolest thing ever because she is me reincarnated. I'm nervous because she just started driving, but she rode in the pace car during the truck laps Saturday night for the better part of 3 hours. And the lady that runs the track's like, "Are you sure you don't want to get out? You're not getting sick?" She's like, "No, I'm good." So she stayed in all night with her. And they thought that was pretty cool because they're like, usually everybody gets the spinnies and starts getting sick and wants to get out. And she's like, "Nah, I took my BMW out," and she hopped in with me for some hot laps yet. So it was pretty cool. But now that they can start enjoying those things with me, it does make me reflect a little more that I wish they could have come along earlier, but it sucks. The school system is so, to me, the school system doesn't work anymore, right? Like even when we were in school, like we learned a lot of things that I've still to this day never used. And I don't know what teaching me that gained me. I still can't wrap my head around it. I think about a lot of things, a lot of the trigonometry and super math that I learned, like even when I was in engineering, I didn't use half of that stuff. So like, why was that forced upon me? Our history, I understand we want to learn it so we don't repeat it. But at the same time, like, was most of that history even correct anymore? I don't even know. Like most of it was lied to us anyways. So, our kids, both of them have gotten truancy notes in the mail. Like they've missed too much school. They can't miss anymore. But I look at it like some of these shows they've been to, they've learned more hanging out with us in those experiences that they would have learned than they would have learned in school. So I don't know, getting back on topic, I don't think I would change anything, but maintaining that family relationship is having an understanding partner. Like my wife is probably far more understanding than she should have been. Because it is hard. It's hard to be on the road. And for me, it was really hard. Like when I would go to truck shows, I almost had to pretend I didn't have family at home, and I didn't want to call them on a daily basis because it made me homesick. And I would just go and work and bury myself in the work and not think about it. But now that like my youngest, she wants to call me every night to say goodnight. Like, dude, that kills me because now I'm homesick. I want to be home, and I got 8 more days of being here, but I can't because I got to get my stuff done. But yeah, it's pretty brutal. But to keep it together, I pray a lot. To be honest with you, I'm not a go to church on Sunday Christian, but I'm a very firm believer. I believe in a lot of karma, put in good and good comes back. Have we had our rough and rocky spots? Absolutely. Like every couple, everybody goes through rough spots where there's a misunderstanding on one side or the other. You have to always find a way to come back to center that everybody can agree upon and everybody can understand. And it has to be out loud. You can't just assume she understands or you understand. You guys have to have a mutual agreement on the path of your business. And there was times where I felt unsupported, and those were times where I took those out on her, but never really asked, like, why wasn't the support there? And come to find out the support was there. It was just in a different way. The support was through a warm cooked meal, and I took it for granted, and when we got back on the same page, things were great. But when you're not on the same page is when it's not great, right? And being a business owner, you can let your business consume you, especially in what we do. Like this can consume you 100%. That's why I teach people, say no once in a while, because if you don't, you will work 24 hours a day. And as you guys have seen, a lot of polishers and a lot of detailers get into drugs. Why? Because you can work 24 hours a day and you can make money non-stop. And it's silly because you don't need it. The drugs soak up the excess money that you make anyways. So it just blows my mind that that's the route some guys go. But you have to say no, or you'll lose everything. You will lose everything to polishing or detailing because your customers don't understand that you're missing out at home. And especially I mean, no dig at truckers whatsoever, but truckers are on the road away from their families. So it's even harder for them to understand because they skip holidays, they skip birthdays, do the same thing and celebrate their birthdays around their work schedule. But it's really hard for that to make that connection. So you have to physically say no and stand firm behind that. And if a customer says, well, you don't want to work this holiday? Nope, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. This is time where I spend with my family. And you got to stick to that, because if you lose that customer wasn't going to be a long-term customer anyways. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, was that I had to choose my family sometimes over the customers. I've scheduled truck shows around weddings and funerals and stuff like that. It's just how it is sometimes. I wanted to go work a truck show this year. My wife's like, absolutely not. That's my brother's wedding. I'm like, do I really need to go to your brother's wedding? She's like, you will be at my brother's wedding. I'm like, all right, perfect. So I called the truck show and said I can't come that weekend. They're like, all right, what weekend can you do it? So they moved their show just for me. That was kind of neat, but I felt bad doing it. But at the same time, it kept the home life that much happier. So hard decisions make for a better home life. And sometimes some understanding at home makes for a better work life. So you got to find your own. What's that?
That's a clip right there. That's the whole kit and caboodle.
Yep. And that I've said that for years, is I didn't fully understand it. And that whole age is wisdom thing, that's where it finally kicked in, was about 5 years ago. Was I always wanted understanding at home, but I also needed to understand at home to get understanding at home. And you got to give a little on both ends. Like, you want to put in 20 hours, but you need to only put in 14. You need to get that time at home. And it's hard, especially when you're building, when you're first structuring your business and trying to get your hours in and get your clients in and all that stuff. It's tough. Because you want to say yes to everything, and you want to eat everything that's out there to ensure that long-term business. But I can tell you that long-term business is there as long as you keep putting the effort in, no matter what. You don't have to do 24 hours a day to get that effort. You just have to put the effort in, and people will see that, and it'll build that way too.
You realize when you're getting hyper focused and kind of step back every once in a while and experience that situation, or hey, be productive. Where is it eating me alive? Happy, with everything going. That's sometimes that's the hardest part. It's just something complicated. You get so hyper focused on a goal, and you don't realize, hey, so what if I hit that goal in 3 years instead of 2, and I still have a marriage, and I still have that, and I still have everybody that knows that I was around. Well, it'll be there. And that's, I guess it's like, I'm a new father, so I'm trying to just, I got, and I'm at least 5 to 6 days, minimum of 6 days a week, I'm out of the house working for 17 hours a day. And that's travel, and, I don't get to say goodnight to my son all the time, and I don't get to be around for everything he's doing, and I miss the food trials, and, the little thing, and it's so much weight on my wife, and she, be honest, is the best I could ever ask for. She's been with me since I started this. She's accepted me exactly for who I am from the get-go, and she's seen everything. She's been around for everything, and really just trusts and believes in me. That's like the biggest support I could ever ask for. Just that, hey, I'm proud of you. Like, I'll run through a brick wall. Like, I see the complications and everything getting a lot heavier, and it definitely takes its toll. And that's, I don't want to mess anything up. And if, again, I like to be a sponge. I'll ask everybody anything, and I don't need everything, but if you drop one little dime on me, hey, that might save my marriage. That might save my life. That might, just trying to figure it out and avoid anything that doesn't need to be with. I think having that awareness.
Yep.
I don't sell.
I was just going to say the same thing. The fact that you are already aware of that tells me it's never going to happen. Like, the fact that you can step back and look at it and go, something's wrong. you'll make that adjustment right away and it'll clear itself up. And like I said, it really comes down to just always remember you are in the spot now that you wished you were in 10 years ago. And if you look at that and just think, I am so much happier now than I was 10 years ago, if you can say that, keep doing that, because that tells me 10 years from now, you're going to be in the spot you wanted to be today. And 10 years from that, you're going to continuously keep moving forward and end up being in a better spot and in a better spot. What's the old saying? If you put a frog in lukewarm water and slowly bring it to a boil, the frog will stay in it forever until it kills itself. If you never step out of that pot, you'll never realize how hot it is where you're sitting. So if you're constantly building your business and it's building nice and steady, it's not a huge jump all at once, right? It's a nice and steady build. If you don't step back and look at it, your business will feel the same when you have 500 customers versus when you had 100 customers. If you slowly build it, because you're getting faster, you're getting more efficient. You don't notice how much harder you're working because you're technically not. You've gotten faster, you've gotten more efficient, you've found out better ways to do things. So 500 customers could feel as easy as it did when you were only doing 100 customers, right? Now I've got 3,000 customers and it still feels like I only had 100. It's more scheduling. But other than that, the work feels the same because I can do a wheel in 6 minutes now. Like, it's super simple to blast out a wheel. I think my record was like 2 minutes and 30 some seconds. They timed it. But that wheel felt the same as the wheel that takes 20 minutes. So the fact that I've scaled it to that, had I not stepped back and actually looked at it and watched, the best part about training is I get to watch brand new polishers and I'm like, man, I still remember when it was that hard for me. And now I look at it like, man, for the longest time, I didn't step back and look at it. So I would look at it like, why can't this guy figure this out? Like, that's so simple. Like, when I first started training, I felt so stupid because I was like, man, I can't figure out why this guy can't do that. I can do it. I can grab the grinder and show him 100 times and get a wheel done in 2 minutes, but it would take me 4 hours to train him how to do it. And I was like, how is it taking you this long to figure it out? Well, he didn't have that time behind the grinder I had either, right? So perspective is always key. Just, I mentally, every 6 months, take time to step back and reevaluate my own business and reevaluate myself as a person. The Louis Vuitton, everybody rags on me because I have some stupid things. My inside of my cab over, I have Louis Vuitton shoes that I wear at the shows. Like, it seems stupid, but those are my reminders. It was the first nice thing I ever bought myself to celebrate one of my goals. And now, even though I think they're stupid expensive and it's ridiculous to have these things, I buy them to hold myself accountable for achieving my goals. Because if I don't celebrate my goal, I can't enjoy the grind to get there, right? Like, I don't take the time to sit back and look at the good things. So those moments of sitting back and reflecting on something that I actually accomplished has made me a better person. And I'd like to believe made me a better father at home, and made me a better husband. At least I'd like to pretend. Like, I may not be. We'll find out when we sit down with the wife and kids for a podcast. Maybe they'll have a different story for us. But for me personally, I'd like to think that they're happy I spent the time doing what I did to get to where we're at.
Celebrate your win today, but remember tomorrow is new.
Yeah.
Get caught in it. Expect it to be there on, a week from now. Like, okay, hey, we did this, celebrate it, but keep pushing tomorrow and we won't fail. Done. Nope. Done. Next. Or take that time.
Yep.
I sit back and go, hey, look what I did, but there's still more work to do.
Yep. Yeah. Push as hard as you can that you are comfortable with, that you will allow. Don't allow more than what you are comfortable with, because as soon as you do is when it hurts you. One way or the other, whether it's at home or at work. If you let a customer push you around past your breaking point, it's going to hurt your business. And when it hurts your business, it hurts at home, because now you're going to put in the extra hours at work, which takes away from home. And maybe you promised you'd be home by 6 o'clock tonight, but now this customer pushed you around and told you had to be done tonight, and you stuck it out till 10. Well, now you didn't get to see your kid go to sleep, and you didn't get to do whatever it was. Like me tonight, I knew I was going to be on this podcast with you guys, and I told my youngest, I went in and gave her a hug and kiss at 6:30, and I said, listen, Dad's going to be on a podcast tonight, so I'm not going to be able to tuck you in, but I promise you I'll see you first thing in the morning. Okay, Dad, love you. Give me a hug, crack my back. Cool, I'm going to bed. So we were good, and those are the little things you got to do sometimes, and something little like that will make up for the time that you're going to be away at Nashville.
Communication state.
Yep. And it'll all sort itself out. You'll find an easy, normal. It'll balance itself. Like I said, yin and yang, karma, whatever you want to call it. Life always finds a balance so long as you want a balance.
We'll be laughing about this more.
Exactly. Well, awesome. I truly appreciate you guys. I have enjoyed every minute of this. I know it's getting late over there for you guys, and I know you guys sacrifice time away from home to do this, but somebody's going to listen to something in this and they're going to say, damn, I learned something, and I thank you guys for that, because this podcast is doing exactly what I wanted it to do when we started this, was to help new polishers and even old polishers. I have guys that have been in this for 15, 20 years, almost as long as I have, that are like, man, I listened to one of those podcasts, and one of those guys that's only been doing this for a year, I learned something from him. He gave me some perspective on how great a position I'm in, or how rough a position I'm in, and how I should have been doing things better years ago. So it's pretty cool to hear these stories come from people after listening to these podcasts. So I truly appreciate you guys taking the time to be on. I'm really looking forward to hopefully sitting down and having a beer with you. I don't drink, but I'll pretend to hold a can for a while when we're out in Maryland this year. Or smoke a cigar or something. That I'll do with you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully shaking hands with you guys when I come out this year. And if I got an extra day, I'm just going to make time and come find you, because I love Jersey. Everybody says dirty Jersey, but I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of fun. The Saracenos, boy, I've had some good times with them out there. So maybe next time I come to see them, I'll come see you guys, because I don't think you guys are all too far from where they're at. So
Doors open. Doors always open.
I appreciate that. But yeah, we'll wrap this up, and hopefully we'll have you guys on again sometime in the future after you guys get your new shop up and running, and we'll talk about how this partnership's going and see what you guys have learned along the way.
Yeah, appreciate all your time, Evan. Everything we've done through the industry, throughout the years of yours. It means a lot to me personally, as well as someone else. So thanks for having us on tonight.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It means a lot to me that you even mentioned that, because like I said, when I started the YouTube channel, I didn't do it to get rich. I didn't do it for the fame. I did it for guys like yourself that were looking for information, that just wanted help. And I was hoping that at some point in my life, this conversation would happen where somebody would come up to me and say, thanks, because it put me in a better position in life, because that's all I wanted. I wanted to be in a better position in life. So it's cool to hear that it is helping people, because if I showed you my hate mail every week, you'd want to jump off a bridge. And some of the people tell me I should jump off a bridge, so that's fun. But I truly appreciate the praise. I never let it get to my head. I'll still be the same guy tomorrow that you met yesterday. So I appreciate you guys just as much as you appreciate me. So we'll get together. We'll get together soon, and I'm looking forward to coming out and seeing the place. Well, keep doing good, and we'll see you soon.
Well, thanks, everybody.